Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Right. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Yep. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Film guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Monday afternoon, Monday evening here on the Film Guy Network. And I can always tell it's a good Monday when the printer don't work. Printer wanted to do 95% of his job today.
Isn't that just a normal Monday?
No.
Or just a normal day of the week for you?
No, it does normalize our work, though, because I feel like every job has a printer, and every job has a printer that sometimes is a little bit on the finicky side. Our printer tends to be that. Now, at other jobs that I have worked in previous, stops upon my employment history, there's a nerd to fix that printer. I am the nerd to fix the printer, though sometimes when I get frustrated with it, I stick Kirby on it, and he seems to fix it a lot easier than I do.
You call me a nerd?
No. I didn't say you were the nerd. It felt kind of
like that.
I didn't say you were the nerd. I said you were the person that promptly fixes the printer when I feel like throwing it through the window.
Okay.
So I think you're more patient and technologically aware than I. Does that make you a nerd? No.
I feel like most printer issues can be solved with reinserting paper, turning it off, turning it back on, checking ink.
One would think so. Me as well. I would think that as well. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed another loaded show for you guys tonight. It's a tremendous Monday to have you here with us, man. We got a quarterback dominoes seemingly falling. Well, I would say fell. I would say all of the quarterback dominoes in 2026 have either fallen or we know where they fit in a fall. We're going to talk about that tonight. Kirk Herbstreit apparently has been blasting the current college football playoff model. We'll talk about that tonight. We're going to debate whether or not the SEC should actually be going to 9 conference games and why not they should do that. We've also got the homie Kenny Dillingham making the show notes tonight as well. And Oregon seems to be peel and replace recruiting at this point in time, it appears, whilst jumping into pools. But I want to start tonight tonight's show with the commitment of what I would deem is the best offensive player in the 2026 class in the form of tight end Mark Bowman. It should also be noted as we go to talk about this young football player that this should be a 2027 football player. So I stand by that opinion. This is the best offensive position player in the 2026 class, and he should be in 27. That's how good of a football player and a prospect that Mark Bowman is. Those two football players for me, offensively Mark Bowman, defensively Tyler Atkinson. No matter where those two football players go, in my opinion, in 3 years, we'll be hearing their names called in the first round of the NFL draft. That's how guaranteed of a prospect I think these two guys are. So I don't want to hear, oh, he threw his career away going to USC. They haven't had a first-round draft pick at the tight end position since God knows when. I don't really want to hear about, oh, look at what happened with Deuce Robinson. I don't really want to hear about that because, in my opinion, this kid could have gone to Tittawatta Tech and he'd been a 3 and done. So we just that's how I feel about Mark Bowman first and foremost. So there's that. But you know, he's a great football player, 6'4", 230 pounds. Started as a true freshman at Mater Dei. Not something you really or rare, not something you hear very often. This guy at 14 years old, playing for one of the nation's best high school football programs in the country, but he was that. He is the closest thing. I know we're not far removed from Brock Bowers running around in college football. I mean, we're like 1 year into his pro career, but we are like 4 or 5 classes removed from Brock Bowers, the prospect. This is the closest thing to that we've had. So, like, I'm not saying he is Brock Bowers, but he's the closest thing to that. And he's going to USC. So good for USC on that one. Obviously, we are known or have been known. We got into the space being a Georgia-led podcast. Here we are on the national hour. Most people tuning in nationally to hear our opinions on national topics. So everything that I have heard, I told you that we started as a Georgia channel to let you know that most of the information that I've heard about this, most of the quote-unquote intel that I have on this topic comes from people who wear red and black logos. Okay, so the information that I have been given has been given from red and black lenses, if you will. That doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean it's false. I'm just telling you where it's coming from before I tell you what I know about this situation. But I was told ultimately as much as a month ago, guys, that USC was kind of out of the picture with this, that the recruitment from Georgia's understanding, they were going to be battling Texas for the most part in this recruitment. That immediately changed when he went on his official visit to USC. All right. And upon that, a visit to USC, I was told the number was $6 million over 3 years for Mark Bowman. That number has been reported even higher by USC beat reporters. I trust Scott Schrader with just about anything with regards to USC Trojan football. Scott Schrader, you guys know my litmus test for do I trust you or do I like you? It's basically, are you a grinder? I see Scott Schrader in the southeastern portion of the recruiting circuit more than I see like SEC beat reporters, more than I see Georgia beat reporters. I see Scott Schrader coming out here grinding it out in this area of the country more than I see a ton of people. So I'm going to tell you right now, Scott Schrader's a grinder. Scott Schrader is somebody that I trust. So when Scott Schrader tells me that Mark Bowman got $8 to $10 million over 3 years to be a USC Trojan, I'm going to believe it. You guys believe that? I'm gonna believe it. That's the USC beat reporter telling me what he heard. I got told 6.
I mean, I think it's also you have to take into account, while Scott Schrader probably is doing great work and probably has legitimate sources, who are the sources you're talking to? Because we've talked about agents will say something much higher. Teams will say something much lower. It's always somewhere in between.
You think he got agent intel there? Like agent intel?
I don't know.
Talking 8 to 10?
Based on that, I'd say we'll just call it 7.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
definitely an astronomically high number.
Yeah,
it's
no matter
quarterback
what.
money is what it is. It's quarterback money, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But yeah, I was told $6 million over 3. SC sources out here talking $8 to $10 million over 3. Was also told that there was basically a deadline for a direct deposit on this one. That hey, like he was basically told on his official visit by June 1st, this is going to hit your bank account, and that's that. That's the down payment basically for your commitment. And if you don't take it by then, it's not going to hit. But if you do, it's going to hit, and you are a USC Trojan. And so I think that's what we got going on. And before we talk about, or before anybody, I don't even know where the chat's at on this one. I'm sure they're going crazy. But before anyone starts talking about Mark Bowman or what he did or what he didn't do, anybody pay you that much money, your ass gonna take it. We're gonna take that up front and say that first and foremost. I think the more entertaining discussion to me is what in the hell is any football program doing anywhere? College football, pro football, and by the way, I started this conversation telling you, I think this kid might be Brock Bowers. What is any football program in the world doing paying a tight end quarterback money?
Taking
No idea.
massive swings and hacks at winning recruiting battles, because that's kind of the last bastion of what's holding on to Lincoln Riley as a head coach at USC.
It does kind of feel like
You're
that.
not winning games. You're not getting the top quarterbacks right now. All you can really do is try to beat Georgia's and Texas's in the world for recruiting battles and hope these players stick and are good enough and, like you said, are the next coming of Brock Bowers or whatever's closest to him, so that it pays off in the end. Say, look, we're doing this. We're getting this.
Here's what I think's happening, okay? And here's what I would be doing. Now, it's working in bad faith. I'm literally having this conversation with somebody in college football as we currently speak. I think if I were at USC, I would be doing the same exact thing that Lincoln Riley is doing right now. We all assume House versus NCAA is going to be enacted at some point. We all assume that Deloitte is going to be able to garner or govern, I should say, these NIL deals at some point. But what we don't know is when that point is. And what we also know is right now, there are no rules. You can do just about anything that you freaking want to right about now. So if I were a program like USC, and if I were a football coach like Lincoln Riley, who better be winning either on the recruiting trail a la Hugh Freeze or in the wins and loss columns this year on the football field, I'd be doing whatever the hell it is I need to be doing to secure some recruiting momentum right about now. And I'd be front-loading it even if I had to, okay? Because I know at some point there are rules coming down the path.
Well, not just that. You're also in a position of Lincoln Riley where it's like, if you don't land a solid class for the next 2 or 3 years, or if you don't go all out this year and get, have a good record for the next 2 or 3 years, 4 years down the road isn't going to matter to you. You're not going to be there.
Chat saying Deuce Robinson was can't miss too. Not on this channel. I thought Deuce Robinson had plenty of questions coming out of high school football. I thought he was a great football player. But we had position questions. We had, are you going to be a baseball player questions. We had, are you going to lock in on football questions. We had, are you fast enough questions. We have, are you playing high enough levels of competition questions. We have none of those questions with Mark Bowman. Mark Bowman's pick and stick, 3-year starter, guaranteed to be good, in my opinion. I didn't say those things. I don't say those things often. You've been here. You've been listening to me for 5 years. You've been employed by me for 3. How often do I say that about players?
Not very often.
It's like Broderick Jones, Amarius Mims, Tyler Atkinson, and Mark Bowman. Those are the most recent ones. Caleb Downs.
But it's not very often.
I didn't even venture into this one about Malachi Starks.
No.
Coming out of high school. So I don't do this very often. I do this about this kid. He's going to be this no matter where he goes. And if you want to tell me I'm going to make $8 million while I wait my time to be an NFL football player, that ain't bad. By the way, $8 million makes him the 18th highest paid tight end in pro football.
Stupid.
Like, holy shit.
What I don't understand, hold on. What I do understand why programs are doing this, why programs are front loading these contracts, and why they are doing paying kids to commit and hold on to their commitment, whatever. But what happens when Deloitte comes and now all of a sudden, what do these deals become at that point?
2022 2.0. That's and if you're USC, what you are banking on, Jonathan, is that when real regulation comes, Mark Bowman is such a good football player already that real companies want to pay him his salary anyways. That's what you're gambling on, I would imagine. That you're promising this money and you're getting this front-loaded money as much as you can to get these commitments. And then once Deloitte comes around, it's okay because Mark Bowman's already getting a Nike deal. You see what I'm saying? So, I guess that's what they're hoping on. The rest of college football is looking at USC right now like, I am going to pillage your roster in 18 months. Not even that, in 10 months.
So this sounds kind of like it's almost a rent a 5-star.
I mean, Christian, that is the way the rest of college football, the networks that I talk to, the people that I'm talking to, the coaches that I'm talking to, the programs that I talk to, that's what most of them are talking about. They're saying, okay, great. They've got to survive a season and Deloitte. They've got to survive a season and house versus NCAA. That's what USC has to still survive. I believe they will. You tell me. What's the latest update? By the way, I follow it as close as anybody. What's the last update we got on house versus NCAA, the court case?
Well, that was going to be my other.
You got one?
Well, that's going to be my other point. Is my feeling is that if schools do feel comfortable doing this, that they don't feel like this is happening anytime soon. Like,
some of them don't. Some of them do. Right?
Yeah.
Freaking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Chat saying, can't some of these deals be grandfathered in? Not in the SEC. That's the other thing. There's going to be a Deloitte set of rules. There's going to be an NCAA-wide set of rules. And this is going to be what Greg Sankey says this conference has to govern themselves on. So it's a whole hill of beans, all to say that USC got a really, really damn good football player. I do think that most of the discussion on this channel should have been about, why are y'all overpaying for a tight end? I think it's a can't-miss prospect. Why are y'all overpaying for him?
And that's because
crazy money, even if he is the world's greatest tight end.
Well, and that's my other thing is another thing that I don't understand is like you can gauge however much you want about how much you think a player is going to be worth. And for Mark Bowman, let's say $2 million. If he's the best,
tracking that one good. I thought I had it. Sorry, he's the best. What?
If he's the best offensive playmaker in the country, I'll just throw out $2 million for Mark Bowman for any school. But then, why do you feel like you have to pay $8 million or $9 million to get Mark Bowman to come here? To me, it makes no sense. Like, that is bad business anywhere else in this world. That is a stupid financial decision.
It reminds me very similarly of the way the Nico thing went down, like back in the day. I had it on good authority that Nico was asking for 1.5 total coming out of high school. Total. The most people he was recruiting were talking to him about 1.5. And then he gets on a private jet and comes out to Knoxville, Tennessee, and they're talking about $8 million. And before he could even hear the conversation, it was like, where do I verbally agree to that? Y'all said what? It wasn't even, it was way past what was even needed. And sometimes I feel like some of these schools are doing this to themselves. I think USC, at least I think USC could have got him for the 6 that I heard. Mm-hmm. If y'all did go as far as 8, why? And that, I do think, in the NFL, we criticize GMs for this. Mm-hmm. If a GM pays a wide receiver that's washed up way too much money, ESPN on Get Up is out there cooking the GM. They have no idea what they're doing. Fan bases on social media cooking them. USC fans today are out on social media going crazy because they just got the best tight end in the country. I would be, maybe somebody in that fan base should be like, hey, yo, whoa, we paid him what? You know what I mean? We just hindered ourselves, right? You would think we would, right? Unless it's a bottomless budget. If it is a bottomless budget, why y'all just now starting to act up crazy?
Yeah.
Where's all this? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of questions that would come out of this if I were a UFC fan too.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of questions that can be asked of it, and I agree that it is kind of there should be what are you doing right now overpaying wise? But again, we talked about this last week of college football recruiting and the NFL are different in the regards of when you sign the top players in these acquisitions, it's kind of viewed as we won this battle over so-and-so, and it creates momentum moving forward. There's not as much momentum in free agencies. It's you'll sign a player here or there. Sometimes you sign a really big player, and it's a big deal.
You're correct in the sense that in the NFL free agency world, there's really only 1 or 2 players every free agency cycle where it feels like there's a bidding war. Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, there's a legal tampering portion of the NFL free agency where 90% of deals are done before they even hit the timeline.
Yep.
And this is a total different acquisition strategy or a process where it feels like there's 6 months of delineation of who's going to get this guy.
And you have to beat the other schools to get him.
You're right. That's a good way to put that.
Yeah. But other than that, you still overpaid a shit ton.
Yeah.
And
which I think should come with criticism.
It should.
Oh, yeah.
Great. You landed him. What? Where are y'all going to put together another roster?
I think Rocco in chat makes a good point of having to pay an in-state kid that much money is an insult to that school. If that's what it took for Mark Bowman to stay in California and play for the Trojans, maybe that's an indicator of how other people, not just us, think about
Also,
them.
I'm just thinking maybe the $6 million that I was reported or given is the same $8 million because maybe the number I got included the tax hit he's going to have to take.
Yeah, I would defer that.
You know what I mean? Shit.
Bro, I would defer that shit until you leave the state.
Hey, Blood, here, I'm going to go ahead and put you on game right quick. Go ahead and start an LLC, go ahead and start a charitable organization and go ahead and start paying, whether it be your girlfriend or your mama, a salary, all right? Because at least giving $100K to your mama in salary is at least $100,000 that we can knock off our tax burden. I'm gonna put you on game because, yeah, you're paying your mama $100,000, but she was gonna ask for it anyways. They all do. My mama would. Hey, if I make $8 million and my mama don't call for 100 racks, I'm gonna be upset. Like, mama, you didn't think we was close enough? You can get 100. You can get 100 G's off me.
I would not say. I would offer it. My mom probably is not calling me asking me for that.
Neither is mine. I'd give it to him though. But.
Boys, you're 17 years old. You're worth $8 million. Your mama's gonna call and ask for 100 racks.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I would happily give it to her.
Again, yes.
But I don't think my mom is calling me up for that. My mom wouldn't even ask me for $20 right now.
IRS has entered the chat. IRS would, if they were out here running these guys down on this one, they would have got Quinn Ewers during the playoffs. If y'all remember that, he exposed this entire strategy during an interview, and the whole entire media circuit was like, "Oh, look at Quinn! What a great NIL story! He's able to pay his mother a salary." And I was like, tax evasion. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's audit the shit out of this.
Let's audit the shit out of this 7th round draft pick. What are we talking about?
Mark Bowman, how he got overpaid.
Oh, yeah. Overpaid, great for the kid,
again,
though.
Yeah, I was say, by the way,
bread,
good
homie.
for you, Mark Bowman.
Yeah, take that bread, homie. Welcome in. We got a loaded show for you guys tonight. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel. If you are a new viewer tonight, go ahead, hit that subscription button. We are the Film Guy Network. I'm Brooks Austin, Director of Recruiting for Sports Illustrated. That's my man, Jonathan Williams over there. We call him J-Will, a.k.a. Stretch, whatever you want to call him. This is the mustached, whatever. I don't have a nickname for you. This is my man, Kirby. This is my man, Kirby. We don't do a lot of intros around here. That's why that sounded so clunky.
That's all right.
But these are the boys. Welcome in. We do a great job here talking all things college football. Boys, let's stick to recruiting while we're at it. Obviously, the Mark Bowman domino has fallen. I am of the impression that all of the quarterback dominoes have fallen.
Oh.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Or we at least know what direction they're probably going to fall in.
Yeah, or they done felt.
Mm-hmm.
Fallen? Felt?
Fallen.
Felt. No. They done felt down, not felt up. It's an important clarification. But yeah, they done fail. All of them. Jared Curtis going to Georgia. We think Ryder Lyons is going to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Dia Bell committed to Texas. Faison Brandon committed to Tennessee. My man Brady Schmeigel. Is that Schmeigel or Schmeigel?
I say Schmeigel.
I say Schmeigel for me. Brady Schmeigel going to Michigan, the Cali kid.
Yep.
Going to follow in the wake of Bryce Underwood out there at Michigan. USC and Lincoln always identifying a queue early. They got Jonas Williams in the class. Notre Dame done got their guy Noah Grubbs. Miami's got their guy in Darian Coleman. Texas A&M's got their guy who I didn't write the name down of. No offense to you. I'll see you out there at the Elite 11. Clemson's got their guy. Florida's got their guy. Penn State's got their guy. Shit, I think Bo Bentley's going to LSU.
Seems that
like
way.
It.
I think Jaden O'Neal probably going to stay at Oklahoma at that point as well. I mean, Landon Duckworth looked like he probably going to go to South Carolina.
Sounds that way.
The only real recruiting powerhouse and big player that ain't out here in the mix for a quarterback right about now is Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're doing at 26. I think they're just kicking can, maybe. Hollering at 27. They already got a 27 commit. Even though I think that might get shuffled up, because they just offered Teddy Gerard.
They're just loading the weapons back up.
Maybe going back into the weapons. I think what my ultimate point here is, like, there's only one big domino left to maybe happen, and what did we decide on the pronunciation here? Keyshawn?
Yeah.
And my man Keyshawn Henderson, is he going to stick with Houston, or is Florida State going to be able to flip him? But that's it. I just rattled off like the top 17 quarterbacks in the class. Done. Here we are, 1st of June.
Do you think that's a product of the players making decisions faster, or schools being very much like, all right, if you're going to sit and wait for us, we're going to take another kid?
So here's what my logical brain tells me that I spent 5 years getting a master's in business with. So my MBA logical brain tells me the most expensive chip in the class is the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So we best get that chip figured out early on so we can balance the rest of the budget.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That would make the most sense to me.
That makes sense.
We got an expensive player We got to get him in early so we can figure out what is available the rest of the class. Now, here's where it could get you in some trouble. You get one of these project quarterbacks that you really, really like. Okay, like for example, this isn't a quarterback, but Alabama's running into this right now with Chris Booker. There's not a prospect in this state whose price has gone up in this state more this class than Chris Booker. I'd say Chris Booker was a $200,000 athlete early in the class when he committed to Alabama. I bet Chris Booker's $1 million player right about now. I bet he's nearing $1 million. So if you're Alabama's GM, if you're Alabama's collective, if you're Alabama's whoever, if you're Courtney Morgan, you've got a prospect who is getting better and y'all signed early or y'all had early, his price is increasing. Now imagine if this happened to your quarterback. Imagine if you had a quarterback who was a $400,000 athlete and now all of a sudden is a $4 million player. That'd be kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't want that.
But either way, you have to get in on these guys way early. I think that's what I've learned most about doing this exercise today. If you do not have your football player identified at the quarterback position 16 months before his signing date, you are fucked. Like you are in big, big trouble. You're playing from behind and you're just waiting for other people. Who can we get? Who can I spend money on late in the cycle?
And that's why it's very important that South Carolina seems to be the leader now for Landon Duckworth, because I describe their latest recruitment as throwing a tennis ball to a golden retriever. You could throw two of them, and they're just going to go chase the newest one. That felt like that's what they were doing with the quarterbacks. Oh, Jared Curtis is available. Let's go get him. Oh, Brady Schmiegel. Let's go try and get him now. And now they're back on Landon Duckworth, a guy that was recently committed to them but decommitted last June, and at one point did not look like he was going to go to the Gamecocks. So they kind of feel like they're ending out okay on this one, but it looked shaky there for a little bit. It seemed like they weren't going to get a quarterback in this class.
Yeah, but I mean, you're absolutely right. Like to the point of South Carolina and these other teams, like if you don't get in now and you don't kind of establish yourself with at least a handful of these prospects, because you have to have a plan B, like your contingency plan. So it's kind of an interesting situation that we're seeing Ohio State in, but I also feel like they know what they're doing.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. In my opinion, if Ohio State wanted a quarterback, they'd have one.
For sure.
I think it's by design. I think they're just taking a year off, which we've seen schools do before, especially schools that stack it like they have at the quarterback position historically. Or maybe they could be loading up for a portal acquisition year after Saban's done. You know what I mean? So because I would imagine that most of these schools are allocating, or they should be, their GMs and their coaching staffs should be allocating positional dollars. So in other words, we are spending $1.2 million annually on the quarterback position in every class. If one class were under that value, that means we get to spend extra the next year. See what I'm saying? That's how they should be stacking these things. That's how the NFL does it. We have $150 million to play with. We allot certain amount of percentages of that to each position group. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the local hour with the miss on Mark Bowman. We're going to slide some money around in the local hour. I think it's going to be fun. So there's that. Yeah, you better be IDing quarterbacks 16 months before signing day, maybe even earlier than that nowadays, maybe 18, 2 years out. 18 months, 2 years out. Pre-Elite 11 rankings. Do you want them?
Yeah, I'm interested in this.
You have to wait. They're coming soon.
Oh.
They're coming soon.
Okay.
I teased you guys just like I teased the audience. I know going into it already that I love Faison Brandon and I love Bo Bentley. I'm going to go really reevaluate the rest of them, but I've seen a lot of those two guys. I've seen Faison Brandon in person multiple times. I love what I've seen from him. So there's that. But the rest of the guys I'm super excited to take a deep dive into. Let's stay on quarterback-related topics. Luke Altmaier said he turned down multiple SEC offers to remain at Illinois. You boys want the quote?
Yes, I do want the quote.
Quote, "There were opportunities for me to venture onward to the next level, but also to be able to play in another program," Altmaier told On3. "That's just the reality of it in the NCAA and the college football world we live in. Being from Mississippi and the SEC country, that's very, very attractive to be able to play in that conference and play in front of people that I know and in stadiums that I've been in before and grew up watching and loving. It was certainly an attraction and a real thing. It was a difficult decision, but I know what's important. I know what's being created here and the trust, unity, and connection that I have amongst my teammates, this community, and my coaches. The success is waiting for me here. It'd be foolish to pick up and start over and take a risk when I have a lot of trust that's been earned and built." I'm going to be honest. It's about as good of a reading job as I've done in a minute on this channel.
Pretty good.
I felt like I nailed that.
You did.
Reading's tough live,
Yeah.
I think.
It
Yeah,
does.
I would agree with that.
It has its challenges for sure.
Yeah. Thoughts on the quote?
It makes sense. Why would you go establish yourself or try to establish yourself at an SEC school or a Big Ten school when you have, or another Big Ten school, excuse me, when you already have a fan base built up, you already have a trust, you already have a knowledge with the coaching staff, you already have an understanding of the offensive scheme that's being run, you have relationships with the players on your team. I mean, yeah, you might get a pay grade, but we've seen time and time again numerous guys move to the SEC, not work out as well, and yeah, they had that 1 year pay bump, but their NFL draft stock suffered drastically, and numerous things outside of that. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does make sense, but I also think that it's convenient that people, like, we're entering a season in which Illinois is kind of being talked up. Illinois is kind of being highlighted. Now, Altmaier is one of the biggest reasons why. Him being their starting quarterback is a major reason why people think that Illinois could shake some things up in the Big Ten this season and could potentially fight for a playoff spot this year. So if he was not there, these conversations would not exist, but I think that's also a quote of him saying that he probably liked what he had, not even just because he knows the system, but he likes the crop of players that they have there as opposed to going to like a Kentucky or something like that.
Yeah, see, you linked them to Kentucky. I don't even think that one was the football program that even sniffed around him. I think most, from my inclinations and my viewpoint of this and reading the tea leaves, Luke Altmaier potentially going into the portal was only connected once Nico's bullshit happened at Tennessee. And then it was like, oh, Tennessee's in need of a quarterback. They kicked the tires on everybody. Now Luke Altmaier's got to let everybody know that he's staying at Illinois. That's the way I looked at it. And I got a bonus take for that one, which is a useless take because it's a hypothetical that never happened nor will happen. But that would have been a terrible decision for Luke Altmaier to go to that Tennessee system.
I agree.
It's a bad fit. That guy, that's not made for him. That system is made for big-armed chew-chabbers. That ain't one of them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Luke Altmaier needs to be in a pro-style system making quick and easy decisions off play action, which is exactly what Illinois does.
Yeah.
So I think good decision here.
Not only
sticking at Illinois.
Not only a good decision because the fit necessarily isn't there, but you would be going, again, from playing at Illinois, and their schedule I can read off right now is Western Illinois, Duke, Western Michigan, Indiana, USC, Purdue, Ohio State, Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern. You basically have to beat USC and Ohio, or you can lose to USC and Ohio State. You're 10-2. You're fighting for a playoff spot. On the flip side, you're going to Tennessee. Us on this channel have listed the numerous questions that are on that roster as far as the weapons go, as far as the defense goes. That feels like a better situation, one that you have been in for multiple years now, as opposed to being a transplant on a Tennessee roster in the springtime, by the way. This is not in January.
Yeah.
Not just that, there's this kind of counteract movement amongst a lot of college football players that are, going against the grains of, I got to move somewhere else to get more money. I got to move somewhere else because it's better for me. And there's a lot of people that are proudly saying, no, I'm staying here. I love where I'm at. And they get a larger fan base because there's a larger
Big dubs
following.
for loyalty in the chat.
Exactly. I mean, and it's valued by fans. It's valued by NFL scouts. I mean, we talked about it, how the Broncos didn't take a single player in the transfer this year. Like, things like that have good standing with certain people. It's not just, you're doing it for the love of the game. There are benefits to staying at the school you're at.
You hit the nail on the head. I don't want to say that they could be Indiana of 2025, but they got a good shot at it.
That's what they're being deemed as.
They get USC at home. I mean, I could 11-1.
I mean, who are you taking in a rock fight, Illinois or USC right now?
Altmaier versus Maeva. I don't know.
Fun.
I'm taking Bielema in a street fight, though, ain't no doubt.
I'm just saying, like, if
Brett
that's a
Bielema
game
looks like
where
he got
it's
hands.
like defensive showdown, we got a classic Big Tenner nooner of 17-10 entering the fourth quarter. I mean, that's right where the Fighting Illini want to be.
Drag you into deep water.
Deep.
Actually, that's more like Nerf Sharky and Short Shallows.
Yeah,
That's got an Illinois football now, right about now.
like a blue
Get you in that
crab,
knee-deep water and take your shins out.
like a blue crab. Just keep pinching you,
Yeah,
just keep nibbing at you.
yeah.
Dude, blue crabs suck.
I want to look at this new offer of the day, okay?
All right.
Because this one popped on my timeline, and we're real deep into the 2026 cycle. Like, you should be making decisions at this point. You shouldn't be having new guys pop up on your board or new names pop up on your board. But there is one scouting department right now that I'm not going to say is walking circles around the rest of them, But I think this scouting department is getting in way earlier than the rest of the big boys, okay? And they're a big boy themselves, all right? They're getting in way early on prospects like Chris Booker. They're getting in way early on prospects like Jordan Edmonds. And they got in way early on a football player today out of Nashville that I got to bring to your attention. We're talking about Alabama, and Alabama offered my man Owen Cable today out of Nashville, Tennessee. Now, Owen from Nashville, Tennessee is exactly the Owen that you're thinking of, except Owen is 6'3". Owen is 203 pounds. Owen runs 10.78 in the 100-meter, and Owen runs 4.4 in the 40.
It's scooting.
I'm excited to look at Owen Cable's tape.
What does he play?
My man Owen plays wide receiver.
Okay.
And you can already line up the Ladd McConkey comps. You can already line up the Julian Edelman comps.
At
you can
6'2"?
already line up the lunch pail
It doesn't
comps,
matter, Kirby.
except for the fact that he's 6'3".
Doesn't matter.
And it is important to remember that he's 6'3", because when we look at this tape, you're going to be like, wait a minute, that kid runs 10.78, he's 6'3". Okay, so this kid, I think, is going to take an absolute skyrocket up whatever rankings you guys most believe in, because this dude's got
a little bit of KOR tape.
Yeah, KOR tape at 6'3". Again, 6'3", 205 pounds. And he is going to go.
Damn, they're giving you the all 22.
Yeah, buddy, we out there.
They're giving you the all 100.
Yeah, buddy, we out there. We in the press box deep. Okay.
Here we go.
All right. So here we talked about with Sedarian Morgan the other day. Okay, how your coordinator uses you. I watched this tape earlier today. You're going to see him in the slot, and when he's only in the slot to get the ball right now. So they can do stuff like this with him. And again, 6'3", 205 pounds, and he does this shit.
That's a good block by the X out
Yeah,
there.
it is. But we're defying angles running down the sideline. Okay. Now I think we're going to beat press man coverage. Okay. Break it back in on a post. Watch this track right here. It's a tremendous tracking of the football right there from my man Owen. Okay. Think we're going to get a good little outside release right here. Watch this route concept. Okay. And then we're going to sit down, come back on the slant or on the screen, make a guy miss, and we're cribbing that as well.
Perfect time to call a jail screen.
Yeah, man. Right into the boundary. You like that one?
Corner blitzes.
Yep. We're just going to stack that guy and
you're
run
just
right
cooking
by
him.
him. Yeah, we're just going to run right by him. I'm telling you, this is really, really, really good tape. Again, back in the slot, what are we going to get? We're going to get a now screen right now. Okay, we're going to make a guy miss.
Bro,
we're going to make a guy miss, and we're going to get to the pylon.
Bro, his teammates are blocking
Oh, yeah.
their
No,
asses
hey,
off.
dude, this is a two-time back-to-back state champion. That's the other thing. 14 wins in a row last year for this football team. Okay? So, yeah, what Kirby's alluding to. Yeah, I love the patience on this double move right here, Kirby. When I first watched it, I was like, man, we're not really driving out of the route, and then you realize why. Watch this pace right here. We're kind of high-shouldered. We're going to set up the hitch and go right there. Great ball from the Q. Great track from him as well. Stayed in bounds.
Georgia just got a commit from Gavin Honor. 2027 wide receiver.
2027 wide receiver? Okay. Gavin who?
Honore.
O'Harn? I guess we'll pull that up. We'll pull that up in the local hour.
Are you
Do we have a?
I'm doing live updates, so you have that.
Gotcha.
Where's he from?
I'll get you a
Looks
profile.
like Matter
on him.
Day.
Okay.
They said, "Oh, we can't have Mark Bowman. We'll take this kid instead." Oh, that'd be great.
He is a 3-star prospect in the 2027 class. He is listed at 5'10", 170 pounds. Yeah, there's track speeds, 11 flat in the 100-meter. His personal best is a 10.83.
I would rather you cover that.
All right.
No offense to Gage.
Yeah, so got some juice to him, it sounds like.
All right. I'll put a Patreon message on what I just got. That was early and unexpected, I think. Way early.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got to see about that one.
I mean, not to do that.
Is that first commit in 27?
Yeah, so not to do that thing, but there is a track record when it
Well,
comes
Curtis
to
is
first
going to break
commits.
this.
But he ultimately
did
did
decommit.
end up decommitting.
Yeah, he did. But he going to break it because he's going to end up in the class.
I know, but
By the way, what we're talking about is a streak that Georgia has going on right now that since the 2020 signing class, so that's 6 classes in a row, the first kid to commit in the class has inevitably decommitted. The last player to go wire to wire, first commit to signing day, is David Daniel. And he transferred. Yeah, it's not a good track record right about now. But hopefully they'll hold on to this one.
Yeah.
Imagine there's no photos of this guy.
Well, yeah,
Shocker.
that's no shocker there. I don't know. It kind of is considering he played for Matter Day.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
He did have 356 receiving yards.
We're kind of dragging the segment on breaking news right here. Let's continue our actual conversation, Jonathan, you and I. How about Bama? They popped this offer today. What I assume this kid's been on campus recently in the last 48 hours and confirmed that he should be a take.
I mean, this was the biggest thing about Kalen DeBoer when he came, or one of the biggest things about Kalen DeBoer when he came to Alabama, of the age-old, well, he's been out west. He's been coaching out west. He was in Washington. Well, let's see if he can recruit with the big boys down here in the SEC and in the South and see. And he's taken commits from the state of Georgia. He's gone into the state of Florida. Now, he has kind of fallen behind a little bit in the state of Alabama, but he's had a very broad scope when it comes to recruiting. I mean, this is a nationally recruiting type of thing that he's been doing, and he's finding dudes that he's getting them. So he's more than answered the bell there.
And there's clearly, to me, no care or worry about what other people are doing. This is a football staff and recruiting staff that is determined to recruit their own way and recruit the players that they think are takeable players way before other people are. Like I said, and I mentioned it when we went up to the board to look at this kid, they nailed the Chris Booker eval, and they nailed the Jordan Edmonds eval, almost to a detriment. It's going to cost them in the back end because their players are so damn good. They're going to keep shooting up evaluation boards at other programs that also have a lot of money, like Georgia, like Texas, like other programs that are going to get involved in some of these recruits that they have committed already. So it is Courtney Morgan, from my understanding. That is the mind that is getting in on the evaluation processes way earlier than the rest of the group of evaluators. And, man, these are deep evals. Like, I can't express to you, and I use that euphemism quite a bit, but, like, the idea that you're going to be in on and know that Chris Booker and Jordan Edmonds are going to be high-caliber SEC football players that need to be priorities in your class, you know that 6 months before Georgia does?
And
the fuck?
Not only that, it's not only getting in early on a prospect that you think is going to be really good, but when I listened to the interview that you did with Chris Booker, and I texted you this too, I was like, he needs to go to Alabama. That guy sounds like he not only loves the school there, he loves everything about Tuscaloosa, he loves the Crimson Tide. Like, you not only found a player that you projected correctly and other teams are now after, but you already have committed, but you found that player who also loves your school, loves Alabama, loves the Tide. Like, you're checking every single box.
Yeah, man. Like, when we first heard about the Courtney Morgan news of them hiring him as a GM, I think I jokingly said, like, I hate Buddy because Buddy's got my dream job. Like, his entire job is to tell Kalen what he thinks. Mm-hmm. That's his job about everything. Hey, I think we need to change this. Hey, I think this needs to be done. Hey, I think this. I think we need to go get this kid. I think this. His whole entire job is tell me what you think. Buddy, I got millions of thoughts. Let me get $1 per realistic thought that I have about your program. Let me get $1, man. Pure jealousy of the Courtney Morgan role that he's got going out there. I want to continue to talk about this should the SEC move to 9 conference games because I believe the Kirk Herbstreit segment is teed up by our man Kirk, and he's writing a news article right now.
Actually, I was the one that found it, so it doesn't matter.
All right, but we'll stay here because I got a take on this, and we can keep Kirby from having to switch camera angles. Big to-do as of late in college football about the SEC needing or the Big Ten wanting the SEC to move to a 9-game conference schedule. Obviously, they play 8. The Big Ten plays 9, which leaves the Big Ten aficionados and superfans every single November to tweet out the fact that Georgia is playing Coastal Carolina or that Texas is playing insert mid-major football team in the middle of November while Big Ten teams are struggling through the matchup between Ohio State and Northwestern. But it is a big to-do in the world of college football about why, or the fact that the SEC should move to 9. And I've heard people talk about this ad nauseum. I heard Joe Klatt talk about this today, about how it's basically bullcrap and how the SEC is just scared to go to 9, and they love that cupcake in the middle of November. They thrive upon it. It's almost the reason why they've won as many titles as they have. It's a fixation upon the Big Ten. And to which I just wonder, like, why? Like, why are people – it's undeniable data. We have it every year that despite the fact that the SEC plays 8 conference games and the Big Ten plays 9, that the SEC, year in, year out, this year, just like last year and the year before that and the year before that, the SEC schedules are undoubtedly harder than everybody else's in the sport. There's just no denying this. In fact, I looked it up today, okay? I took the strength of schedule rankings from the end of the regular season. Why the end of the regular season? Well, because at the end of the regular season, that does not account the fact that Ohio State obviously went and played Oregon, and they went and played Penn State in the Big Ten championship game, and they went and played Tennessee, and then they went and played Texas. Obviously, their strength of schedule at the end of the year is going to be really, really tough. But we're talking and debating the regular season. So what did the regular season strength of schedule rankings tell us last year when the SEC was playing an 8-game regular season schedule? Well, newsflash, the SEC had 11 of the 12 hardest ranked regular season schedules in all of college football last year. I got another one for you. 15 of the 16 member schools in the SEC with a lousy-ass 8-game conference schedule, 15 of the 16 teams ranked inside the top 25 for the toughest schedules in the sport. So, ladies and gentlemen, you want them to go to 9. Big Ten super fan? Cool. So they'll go to 9 and have the 12 toughest schedules in the conference, and all 16 teams will rank the 16 toughest schedules in the sport? I do not understand this. We have data. It's right there in front of us. And it's not bias. It's fucking voted on by every writer in all of the nation that covers college football. There's no bias to it. It's not regional bias. It's not SEC bias. They vote on it. And they tell us every single year, these teams are the best. And shockingly, I know most of them reside in the SEC, with some of them residing in the Big Ten. So here's what I did today, ladies and gentlemen. I went through the conference members, and I realistically sat down and said, you know what? If this school won a national title in the next 5 years, I would not be shocked, due to their 5-hour proximity to talent, due to their commitment to football, due to their historical success, due to their actual commitment to their rosters, right? Do they pay? Can they actually go out and get good football players? I went through this list, and you tell me if any of these SEC schools would just blow your mind. There's no way that team can win a national title. Let's start with it. Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, A&M, and Auburn. If those 9 schools won a national title over the next 5 years, you wouldn't be surprised. All right, maybe you can argue with me on Texas A&M. Maybe you want to argue with me on Auburn. I don't care. Pick your battles. But let's call it 9. Let's apply the same metric to the Big Ten, shall we? Okay, I think you feel that way about Oregon. I think you demand that over the next 5 years, Oregon gets to a national title or wins one, or you'll finally have some smoke for Dan Lanning. I think we all feel that way. Ohio State, Michigan, obviously in this mix. Penn State, obviously in this mix, okay? And USC. They feel like they should be in this mix. Their fan base feels like they should be a top 5 annual contender, right? But outside of that, you don't feel this way about Nebraska. You don't feel this way about Purdue, Maryland, Iowa, Illinois, Michigan State, Minnesota, Northwestern, UCLA, Rutgers, Washington, Wisconsin. You know who's in that category in the SEC? Michigan or Mississippi State, I'll give you that. Vandy, I'll give you that. Kentucky, I'll give you that. Okay? There are certain programs in this conference down here in the Southeastern Conference that you don't feel could ever win a national title in the current state of college football. But there are 9 of them that you do think that could. All right, so it's not even apples to oranges. It's just there are 9 really good programs over here, and there are 5 really good programs over here. 9 is more than 5. Duh.
I think we should play a game right now.
SEC Homer?
Let's play a game, Brooks. I'm going to give you the last 4 games of one schedule and the last 4 games on another. You tell me which one you would like to have, because this seems to be, like you mentioned.
This is the talking point. It's the November debate point.
November, late in the season, everybody's banged up. They all get a resting day. They get the cupcake schedules to end the season. So here we go. Here's one. Indiana, Michigan State, Nebraska, Rutgers, or, let me pull it up, Mississippi State, Texas, Charlotte, Georgia Tech.
I would rather play B.
Okay.
Honestly.
That one's fair.
Yeah. I would honestly still rather play B. It's like Texas and then 3 winnable games.
Yes.
But it's like 4 maybe tough games in that first schedule. So give me the next example.
All right.
Because I don't want to be SEC homer. I want to be true on this one.
All right.
That
So
first
0
one
for
didn't
1 for
sound
the
terrible.
SEC.
0 for 1 for the SEC.
All right. Iowa, Minnesota, USC, Washington.
Iowa, Minnesota, USC, and Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
Or Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Coastal Carolina, and Clemson.
Oh, my God. Give me the first one. I'd rather play that schedule.
So now
the
they're
second one's, woo.
1 for 2 for the SEC.
And that's South Carolina versus
That is South Carolina.
I don't even know who the fuck that.
By the way, that's
3 F words. I'm sorry, guys. I'll tone it down. That's on me.
By the way, that's at Ole Miss, at Texas A&M, back-to-back weeks. All right, last one.
Okay.
Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, Michigan, or LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, Auburn.
Yeah, I'd rather play A.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 for 3 for the SEC.
Yeah.
And that's Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State schedule matched up against Georgia, South Carolina, and Alabama schedule.
The 3 best teams in the SEC.
Well, South Carolina, not one of the best, but
It's just amazing to me that we have, like, the strength of schedule is undeniable. It's undeniable. Every year, the SEC right there, all 15 of or all 16 of the member schools, very, very high up in the rankings. And then we got Indiana chilling at 76, and we're like, yeah, the SEC should play 9 of them suckers. It's like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? Y'all want to call them soft because they're not playing a hard enough schedule? Yet they're playing the hardest schedules?
Yep.
Can't deny facts, though.
No, I mean it's also just the 8 versus 9. The optics of it are we're playing harder games within our conference. We believe our
By
conference is
definition.
superior. That's what makes it that. I said go to a universal model of 8 and then do an extra +1 out of conference, so you can stop bitching at each other and actually play
Honestly,
in the regular
like,
season.
I'm just glad, and it sucks because they did it at the SEC because they did it at the Big Ten. But I'm glad the Big Ten dissolved the East and West divisions that they had because the Big Ten West was a joke.
Oh, yeah.
It was a joke.
It was who's going to beat the shit out of Iowa
Man.
this year?
I mean, Jeff Brom won 9 games out there.
That kind of just it's a sidetrack. But that takes me back to our James Franklin conversation of, again, why like it was unfair to ever have these expectations or ever call him over it, because he was stuck in the same division as Ohio State and Michigan
Annually.
every single year, and those were the top 2 teams outside of a few years where Michigan was just okay, but still you're competing against Ohio State, who was running that conference.
What my man Kirk Herbstreit have to say? Are we done with that article, by the way?
Yeah, it's out. I'm just adding more to it.
I got to tweet it out.
So I just kind of thought, I'll be honest, one of the biggest reasons why I put this in here is because I thought he had a rather funny analogy. So I'll paraphrase because he gives like 4 major paragraphs of quotes talking about how he does not like the current era of college football, how he does not think that we should be programs should be paying players before they even play. It makes no sense. And how he doesn't like how players are the ones controlling all of these situations. They're the ones with all the power. And to put this into perspective, he said this. Let me find the quote. To put it into our perspective as parents, if you have kids, imagine if your kids were, 12 years old, and they were like, hey, I need the keys to the car. And you're like, I'm your parent. You can't drive. You're 12. And the kid's like, oh, yeah, really? Give me the keys or I'm going to go live somewhere else. And you're like, what? No, you can't do that. And the kid has all the power. The 12-year-olds are deciding what they want to do, and you're the parent going, okay, whatever you say. It's like the world is upside down right now when it comes to that aspect of it.
All right, look, I'm going to say this. I love Kirk Herbstreit. I feel more inclined to give this take an opinion knowing that I was DMing his 20-year-old son on social media and not actually him. That revelation allowed me to give this opinion right here. That's real rich coming from Kirk Herbstreit, who, of all people, gets to work for ESPN and then pull down another 20 million racks a year from Amazon, working both contracts. That's real rich coming from him. You know what I'm saying?
What makes it rich?
What makes it rich?
Yeah.
he gets undeniable power. He is a talent working for 2 companies that because he's so good, and he's earned the right to do this, but he is so good that he gets power over his employees. I get to go work for another company because I'm so good. No different than the 5-star gets to walk in and say, I get to demand this money, and I get to tell you when I want to go somewhere else because I'm so good.
But
It's the same thing, but he spent 30 years earning that right.
exactly, and that's what I was going to say.
Also,
And I'm with that. He spent 30 years earning that right, so it's a little bit different. But he's got this undeniable power.
well, it's also Kirk Herbstreit didn't come in from the get-go, walk onto the ESPN set 30 years ago and say, I'm so good, I'm going to do all this shit. Like,
No.
he got pre-proved, he cut his teeth for 20 years
But-
in the industry prior to.
It's not the damn kids' fault that the market has allowed them this power. Y'all see what I'm saying?
No, and I don't
No.
think he's blaming the kids
No,
necessarily. I think the kids are the
No different
the
than
product
it's
of
not
the
Kirk
issue.
Herbstreit's fault that the live media rights right now, the game for live media rights is through the ever-loving roof because there is no more linear television. The only linear television rights available right now are sporting events. We ain't out here putting reality TV on live television no more. Y'all get it on your Hulu. Okay, you get it on your Netflix. So there ain't nobody running to live television for anything other than news, literal live news channels, and sports rights. So that's why they're going through the roof. But it happens to coincide with Kirk Herbstreit being the greatest of all time at what he does right now. No different than Mark Bowman just happens to be the greatest tight end recruit at a time where USC is willing to give him $8 million.
Yeah. But, I mean, I kind of agree with what Kirk's saying.
I do. I took the stance that I took because of where I'm at on this stage right now. We all agree that players got a little bit too much power in college football. Just don't know if it was the right messenger.
Yeah, and I think that, again, like sometimes these messages, like ours have been too, when we're talking about these types of things, is it's taken as complaining, it's taken as blaming the players, or it's taken as I don't want players to be paid bottom line or anything like that. But I think it's more so just an outcry of this is broken, this is stupid, this is not how things should be. But good on the players for capitalizing on it and making sure that they get what they can.
Speaking of good on Chris Bruton for being a $50 super sub tonight. We're going to put him right down on the bottom of the Buffalo right here. A little Chris Bruton. Shout out to Chris Bruton. Can you read that comment for me, Jonathan, on there?
Yes.
I think it's a great one.
Just appreciate y'all. Y'all have taken my love for football and amplified it with your coverage, specifically film studies. Wanted to get in before 100K and 1 mil subscribers. Keep it up.
Whew.
We're pretty cool.
1 million subs, dude.
I'm with Chris. I like Chris. I like where he's
I'm
at
with
right
Chris
now.
too. I'm a big speaking into existence human, but I ain't even set my aspirations on a milli.
1 million subs by January or I quit.
Fucking get your 2 weeks ready.
Bro's Mark Bowmaning.
Where are we going?
The last thing is basically
You guys are with me, right? The SEC is twice as deep as the Big Ten,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's not even that.
maybe
It's
90% deep.
It's not that it's twice as deep, in my opinion. I think there are just more quality teams in the SEC than the Big Ten throughout the regular season.
Yeah.
I think that on any given day, I would much rather play the 7th best team in the Big Ten than the 7th best team in the SEC. Now,
Yeah,
that might be biased, but then again.
And I think that most people would agree that if you were just to take the 4 best teams in the Big Ten and the 4 best teams in the SEC, those match up pretty well. Like annually, typically those 4 best teams from those conferences would match up pretty well. But once you get past that, that's where it starts outweighing the other, in my opinion. Because, again, like as Kirby was mentioning, like if you're taking the bottom half of the SEC and the bottom half of the Big Ten, SEC is probably going to work.
Last year, Ole Miss and Nebraska on a neutral field. Ole Miss is favored by 14 points.
Yeah.
correct.
Last year, into the season, Florida and Iowa on a neutral field. Florida's
Florida.
favored by 14 points.
Florida.
Now, I'm not saying they win that football game, but it's all hypotheticals anyways. So
Is this the SEC's fault, though?
how?
For being such a champion of it just means more, and we're so much better, and shoving it down people's throats to the point where everyone wants to fight back and say, "No, you're not that much better."
No,
You've kind of created this counter resistance against the SEC because how prideful you are.
You stumbled me into a side take here that I do want to deliver, so I appreciate your questioning here. I think Greg Sankey has done a terrible job in the public relations department.
Yes.
Because we signed a pseudo partnership with the Big Ten. Yet I'm out here taking all the bullets. Greg Sankey's out here taking all the bullets from this, basically demanding they get what they want. And when I say they, I'm talking about the SEC and the Big Ten. Okay, they signed an alliance. They made the rest of the sport sign a memorandum of supremacy. We have talked about that on this network. Yet, every time I turn around, Greg Sankey's the one with the devil horns on the memes. Okay, Greg Sankey's the one out here getting smoked. Okay, everybody hating on Greg Sankey. Meanwhile, Tony Petitti over there just sliding by the wayside. Ain't nobody giving him shit for being this big bad, oh, he's ruining the sport. All the while, okay, not only is Tony Petitti ducking all of the negative PR and all of the negative smoke, that sumbitch is grabbing grenades and throwing them over the live fighting line on his own partner every time he gets a chance, throwing around this 9-game, 8-game bullshit. Okay, Tony Petitti, every chance he gets, is out here like, yeah, man, appreciate Greg for taking all them bullets. Meanwhile, why don't your soft ass play 9 games right quick?
Not only that, but then also making comments like this, and this is a Ross Dellinger tweet from a few days ago. It says, Greg Sankey is laying the groundwork for a serious change to the College Football Playoff Committee selection criteria, describing his conference as not like any other, and its schedule stands alone. I do think there is a need for change. How do you explain some of the decisions made, he asked.
Yeah, no, he has not helped himself out. But Tony's not helping him out by making him be the big bad guy on conference play or college football playoff realignment.
Not a bad idea, I guess.
No. Petitti's playing it like a genius. Most people don't even know who the hell Tony Petitti is.
Oh, he's taking the fall for this. Please, sir, take the floor.
And again, I think it's part of the discussion of, does the SEC do this to itself of being so prideful and so, oh, we're the leaders of the sport. We're the best in college football. We're the best college football has to offer. We're going to spearhead all of these issues because we are the best. Yeah. You kind of create this counter movement against you. Now, I understand being prideful and the whole it just means more thing, but maybe give it a rest.
Yeah, just whatever you do, SEC, I wouldn't be bending to this 9-conference game bullshit.
No, don't do that. I mean,
definitely don't let them come down to 8 either. Just let them agree that they are lesser than.
That's never going to happen. I'd rather them go down. I would rather the SEC.
You would rather the Big Ten go down to 8?
I would rather see that happen, and then you can add one more interconference game.
Yeah.
That's the entire thing. It's made college football so special.
You come down to 8, and then we'll agree to do the SEC Big Ten crossover every year.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we're definitely not going to 9 and playing you guys.
No.
That's crazy.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then playing a 16-team playoff.
Yeah, and I have to play Clemson every year if I'm South Carolina.
And, by the way, we're probably going to have a conference championship.
Could you imagine South Carolina, or, I mean, for that matter, if Georgia Tech got that good, if one year South Carolina has to play 9 SEC games and play Clemson?
Yeah,
it'd be one of the most epic Shane Beamer rants of our lifetime, and we've had some pretty dang good ones already.
So you're telling me he'd break 2 feet on a bench?
Both feet? He looked like the SpongeBob character with the bandages all over around him.
He'd strike me as a guy who would refuse a wheelchair, though. Would just walk around on nubs for 2 weeks.
Crutch it with both feet in the air.
Crawl around like Lieutenant Dan on the floor.
Oh, I'm not doing it. I mean, he's feet for free Beamer no matter what. Imagine how bad them feet would be if they were double cast for 2 months.
Did we ever discover that? Was his shoe on when he broke his foot?
It's a good question. I will put Pablo Torre on that investigative journalism. That's deep cut. That's deep cut right there. We good on the national?
I believe we are.
Hey, let's transition into this local hour. I got a whole nother hour coming up. It's our best hour. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You like that? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Welcome back.
Brooks is currently beating the shit out of his printer for earlier.
He's actually taking a tinkle break.
A tinkle, bro?
Did you put him on?
tinkle?
You didn't have to put him on blast.
A tinkle. We had to use that word, a tinkle?
You got kids in the house.
You're right.
When's the last time you
Gotta use
said
appropriate
When's the
language.
last time you said tinkle? Before now.
Now, I'm a
I
big
don't know.
tummy
It's a good
guy.
question.
My tummy hurts.
Tum Tum's better.
Your wife's definitely a teacher, dude.
Yeah. Tum.
Yeah,
That
she is a teacher.
The language is seeping
I'm
into
more of
your
a
household.
bum guy.
I don't say this in my
Sit
own
on-
house.
sit on
but if
your
I'm
bum
around
bum for me.
kids, bum.
Yeah,
So
sit on
no
your
tum
bum
tum, but
and
bum
that's my
bum.
tummy.
Why are we doubling that? Just bum.
No, that's what you are.
That's double meaning. Are you calling the kid a bum? What's wrong with
That's
you?
like
That's
if you,
horrible.
If you use the,
It's so mean.
it's not. All right, never mind. Whatever, man. I don't care that much to fight this battle. Continue with the show.
Welcome into our local hour. We got a load of them for you. Carter Lucky committed to the University of Georgia this weekend. We got some thoughts on that. We're going to recap a massive weekend of official visits on campus for the University of Georgia. Mark Bowman commits to USC. We talked about it in the national hour. We'll talk about it here in the local hour. I saw some clips of the summer camps that have started up at Georgia. I've got takeaways from that. Just all it took was a 30-second clip, and I got takes for you based off of it. And we got Wheel of Topics that are going to make an appearance tonight as well. But let's talk about the commitments over the weekend, boys. Let's give a take on Carter Lucky. Here's my opinion. First off, legacy football player. Dad was one of the lucky triplets that played with Kirby Smart at the University of Georgia. I tend to do that a lot. University of Georgia. University of Georgia. I don't know why. It's like a tick for me. It's an audio tick. Dad was one of the lucky triplets that played with Kirby Smart at Georgia. Brother is obviously Lawson Lucky, the older brother. This guy loves the G like you'd expect him to, right? He's a legacy football player that was dying to play at the University of Georgia his entire life. So here's my take, right? If there are 105 roster limit were implemented tomorrow, right? We all assume that at some point there will be a roster limit. You will be strict and held down to a certain number of players that you're allowed on your roster. We assume that they're going to remove walk-on football players. So let's assume that there is a 105 roster scholarship limit implemented tomorrow. If that were the case, I think Carter Lucky is like anywhere from the 85th to 105th best player on your roster tomorrow. Right? If it started tomorrow, he's somewhere in that range. And I'll be honest, I don't know if Carter ever cracks the top 30 on a Georgia roster of, is this one of the best 30 football players on the roster? However, okay, I know this for a fact about Carter. All right. Carter Lucky's never going to walk into Kirby Smart's office and demand a raise. In fact, I don't even know if Carter Lucky's going to be getting NIL money at the University of Georgia. Okay, so you never have to worry about this guy overplay or actually playing for you and overpaying his salary and be like, yo, coach, give me money or I'm leaving. It's never happening from this football player. The other thing that you also never have to worry about from Carter Lucky, he is never leaving this roster unless you asked him to for some reason. Okay, so this guy's going to be at Georgia until he ain't at Georgia. And that's invaluable in today's day and age of college football. You also know he's going to play really, really hard. Okay, so all of these things in today's day and age of college football are valuable, no different than five-star characteristics and traits, right? The idea that I've got a 6'5", 280-pound body, all right, that will never leave my roster, that will never demand a raise, and absolutely loves Georgia and plays with fire, passion, and energy. You have to take one of these guys for every single five-star that I have to debate and negotiate with an agent for. Do we all understand that? Mm-hmm. So there's that.
I mean, I went back and watched his huddle this morning, just kind of reminding myself of the player profile. And the biggest takeaway is that he plays hard. I mean, he plays harder than anybody else on the football field. So you're saying that you're getting a guy that loves Georgia, that is never going to leave your roster, that isn't going to walk into Kirby Smart's office and demand a raise, and is going to play really hard every single day.
Look,
that's a win.
If he is your 86th best player on your roster, the worst thing you can have happen from player number 86 is that player number 86 thinks he's deserving of being player number 14. That's the worst thing that can happen for you because that player is going to leave your roster or that player is not going to be engaged while he's on your roster, which means we have a dead body. We have a body that's floating around on our roster right now that is adding no real value. And we only got 105 of the sumbitches. So we better make sure all 105 players 1 down to player 105 are bought in on what they are there to do. And this kid's going to be exactly that.
I don't even think you have to go as far as saying like where he's going to be ranked on your roster. So as like projections are projections. Does Georgia think they got the next Jalen Carter, Devontae Wyatt, or Jordan Davis in this kid? Probably not. But you don't need them. The reality is that what you're getting in Lucky right now is the fact that it's a player that has the upside and the floor is so high that you know that you're never going to have to worry about this kid. It's not a headache. It's not anything that's going to be dramatic or there's going to be theatrics involved with him. It's a kid that loves Georgia. And in an age of college football where, you know, we talk about all the time, man, I miss when guys genuinely love to play for the school that they were attending. This is one of those cases. And by the way, Dan Jackson was probably at the bottom of your rankings at one point. There's multiple stories of this where Stetson Bennett, and then I'm not saying that, you know, he's going to go out and win 2 national championships as a starting quarterback, but there's multiple times where you go, we just got this kid, you know, to take space, and they end up being so much more than that.
We don't even have to go to the 2 biggest success stories in recent memory of actual walk-offs. We can go even more recent. For every every Juan Gaston that you sign in a class, you better back it up with a Malachi Tolliver. For every for every Jackson Cantwell that you pursue, you better land Graham Houston. You see what I'm saying? Like, we have to balance the debatable, will we be able to budget this? Are we going to land this? Are we going to spend a shitload of money with this on this guy's a good, serviceable player, loves the G, let's take him now while we got him.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a win all around.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the Mark Bowman commitment to USC. Boys, I went back and did some research today, and by research I meant just scattered through the cobwebs of one's brainstem. This is the first recruiting miss that Todd Hartley has had with Mark Bowman going to USC since Theo Johnson, all right, back in, I think that's the class of 2021, which would have been the Brock Bowers class. The Darnell Washington class the year before that, he quote-unquote missed on A-Rick Gilbert and landed Darnell Washington.
Yeah.
So this guy don't miss a whole lot, which I think, to me, when I heard the rumors about, USC threw crazy shit, and then I hear the number, that's what it takes for Todd Hartley to lose a recruit.
Yeah.
It takes ungodly amounts of money.
Yeah, and if he does quote-unquote miss, it's also you have someone right back there to kind of
not
fill
saying
that.
that.
Oh, yeah. He gonna settle on Caden Prothro and Lincoln Keys. That's settling.
Tough world.
You know? And if history, I'm not saying that, you know, Prothro's going to be Brock Bowers and Mark Bowman's going to be Theo Johnson, but history kind of seems fairly good to Todd Hartley on these. You miss on A-Rick Gilbert, you not only end up getting him, but in the end, but you get Darnell Washington, and Darnell Washington has the much better college career and much better pro career. You miss on Theo Johnson, and you get Brock Bowers.
Not only that,
not bad.
Considering too what you just signed, what you already have on the roster, what that tight end room looks like right now.
It ain't bad.
It ain't bad. Now, Mark Bowman would have been a tremendous addition to that, and you would have taken him in a heartbeat. But at least you know that you're still solid because Todd Hartley has recruited the way that he has over the years.
Yeah, so chat's asking, do they feel like they're in a good spot? Yeah, they feel like they're in a good spot with Prothro, but you should know that I think they're recruiting Prothro as a wide receiver, or at least he's going to start there and then maybe move inside. But I want to go back to the board because last week, but I think it was Thursday, we came on this show and we did a big class projection based off of salaries, okay? And I actually sent that off to some Georgia people recently, and we told you the numbers are not reportable. I think we need to have that graphic ready to put that back up on the board. That a boy. But the project, the overall project, they're doing it. They're doing what we're about to do in the room, okay? We missed on so-and-so. We have more money available, yada, yada, yada. So let's go to the board. Is that big pin up?
It is up.
All right, so here's how I want to talk about this, okay? Let's say for Shiggles, which right now we got available right here on the board, $800,000 allocated to a potential Mark Bowman.
Give me one
sign,
second, Brooks.
Right? Yeah, go ahead. That type of money potentially available to Mark Bowman. All right? So what I want to talk to y'all about is how we slide money around. This does not mean, are you good?
Yeah.
This does not mean that now all of a sudden $800,000 is available to the class. That's not how the math works, okay? Because just because you missed on Mark Bowman, that does not mean $800,000 is available. That means we still have to sign a player that we were going to sign instead of Mark Bowman, so we got to spend money there. And then the leftover, or what we're going to call on this channel the overpay, is what you actually have left available. So here's the deal. They have recently missed on a $1.2 million player in Jackson Cantwell. Okay, they have currently missed on what we have listed here as an $800,000 player in Mark Bowman. I'm
like
sorry,
boobs.
guys. The board messed me up.
Did
there.
you write boobs on the board?
No, the board messed me up. It didn't actually see. It's not actually registering my finger, which my pin's over there on the table. Okay, 800,000. I don't know what it's doing to my O's there. All right, so that's what you were going to pay for Cantwell and Bowman. But let's say now instead of signing Cantwell, you sign two $400,000 tackles, right? So now we've spent $800,000 on two tackles. Let's say instead of signing Bowman, we sign a $500,000 player in pro throw. Okay, so that's $500,000. The net difference there is what, guys? It's $400,000 at the tackle position and $300,000 at the tight end position. Now we have an additional $700,000 to go play with. We all see how that works? Okay, it's not bar for bar. It's not one for one. We got to go replace the player. Okay, it's not just, oh, we have $2 million now to play with to go sign or throw it at Tyler Atkinson. No, you got to balance it out across the rest of the rooms. So here's what we did. Today, I went and added the rest of my projection for the class. All right, and here's how we came out. I think you're adding a little bit different of players, right? I think you're basically subbing out what would have been Mark Bowman for pro throw and then going in having a potential to add maybe a player like Chris Booker or maybe a player like Tyson Bacon. Oh, he did.
Bro.
Thank you. He's been messing with me the entire night.
He began you too?
Well, he keeps changing my screens because he lands on the screen.
Dang, blood. He dead now. But that's just kind of how it's working, right? We're sliding money around as it becomes available or as we end up securing football players. So here's what I've ended up projecting today. Ryan Mosley obviously committed over the, last week? So Ryan Mosley's in there. Craig Dandridge I projected in the class. Kamari Brooks, Jay Lamar, Tyreek Green, Beckett Kolajay, Zyke Helton, Tadarius Favors, Tyson Bacon, Caden Prothro, Shadarius Tootle, and Justice Fitzpatrick now added up. Now you see right there, $4.75 million allocated. Now, Jonathan or Christian, we are $300,000 over our budget right here, aren't we? You see that right there? It says 4.45, and now right here we're down at 4.75.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you the why. All right, see this right here? I think you end up losing Vance Spafford. Okay. Just a little projection here.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so there's that. All right, good little exercise.
Yeah.
Again, this is happening in college football. This is what you're doing every single day as recruiting news starts to happen. We're sliding budgets, sliding scales. Hey, we need more money here. Hey, we need another body here. Hey, this just happened, so what's it do to our budget? Okay, we're constantly floating and fluctuating throughout the class. That's why, honestly, it's really, really, really hard to project the actual names of who's going where and who's actually going to be in the class. It's harder than ever to do class projections. I'm kind of staying away from it. They can't even give it to me. All right, they don't even know where they're at because they don't know what's going to actually cost, what the budget's going to actually be. I was told the numbers that I have, just in terms of the actual money available and how much might get slotted towards this class, how many bodies they're going to take, pretty damn close. Okay, so I think you're looking at a class of anywhere from 22 to 24 football players, ranging from anywhere to $8 to $10 million.
Yeah, I think projecting classes is hard also because we've seen how chaotic it gets in the closing months of every single recruitment, it feels like. I mean, there's multiple high-caliber football players that when December rolls around and we're 2 weeks out from early National Signing Day, the rumblings start turning. This school's starting to turn it up a little bit or whatever. Like, it has become very difficult for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the challenge that comes with the modern-day recruiting of just balancing a budget.
Yep.
So it makes sense.
It does make sense. Speaking of balancing, how can I transition this? Wheel of Topics?
Yeah, the wheel
Good
balances.
transition.
Good transition. Jonathan, you been swinging the sticks lately?
No.
No? We got a big golf piece of content coming up soon here on the channel. I'm excited for
I'm
it.
going to try and go tomorrow.
Are you as excited as I am? I mean, we're playing golf for
Dude,
what?
I haven't played
not
golf in like 2 years. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Every year my wife asks me, what do you want for Father's Day? And every single year, we're going on here 5 years in a row, I've asked for the same exact thing. 18 holes uninterrupted. Just give me 18 holes. You don't want anything? No. 18 holes uninterrupted. That's it. That's all I want. That's all a man wants. He wants peace and quiet. Every man, at least this is me, I want a day where I can just off and do nothing. I have no responsibilities today for the first time. One out of 365. Just give me no responsibilities. Amen in the chat. You guys aren't fathers. Amen in the chat. I hope I hear amen in the chat on that one. A gift would be nice, but I don't need one. Just give me pure, unadulterated, I have no responsibilities.
We're not fathers as far as he knows.
As far as I know either. Shit.
Little Duke Dennis action going on over there. From a pure looks standpoint, who is your favorite Bulldog?
This is more of a
He got that shit on?
drip contest.
He got that
yeah.
shit on.
Like Brooks's fixation for Marcus Freeman, or
That's just a good looking
or
lad.
like Warren, or who was it? Who am I thinking of right now? I
Zion
can't think of it.
Zion Lowe.
Zion Logue. That's
Zion
what I'm thinking
Logue.
of.
That was
Zion
a crazy.
Logue.
That was an unexpected. Boy got that shit on every time.
Every
Every photo
time.
I ever took of Zion Logue, that dude looked like a first round
His
pick.
visor was so clean.
Woo, visor was clean.
Some of my favorite pictures are from Zion Lowe.
I ain't no doubt. Dan Jackson never took a bad photo, one, but he didn't have enough shit on. You know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah,
just a
Dan
good-looking
Jackson wasn't
lad.
drippy enough.
He was the basic
Nate
generated
doesn't have
character.
that shit on quite yet. Zachariah Branch a little too short and stocky to fit this mold. Trevor Etienne looked gorgeous in a Georgia uniform. I'm trying to think who's gonna have that shit on this year. Definitely not Drew Bobo. Drew Bobo is the antithesis of this. He would be the complete opposite. So whatever that is, too, he got that shit on. Most unappealing player, maybe Drew Bobo, but my favorite to watch, Drew. I'm still dodging the question here.
Quavon Hicks is mine.
No. This is active.
I mean, we
If
can
this
do
is
active.
all time, it's either Trevor Etienne for me or
I always liked how Javon Bullard looked in a Georgia
yeah,
uniform.
Javon
always
Bullard
looked
looked
good
very good in
the,
Georgia
The
uniform.
deuces and he wore the big thick white wristbands
Yeah.
on the
Pre-game, you get to
forearms.
peep the grill.
Oh yeah, pre-game peeping the grill, ain't no doubt. Kamari had a very base layer swag about him.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we're missing someone.
I feel like too. What's chat talking about?
Gunnar
We
Stockton and
have some
Carhartt.
Isaac Nada love.
Ew.
No.
Poor K.
We have some Ellis Robinson.
Poor K. What are we doing there, guys?
Quentin Johnson, Brock Vandegrift.
These
are all satirical answers.
Vandegrift got the
looked good
flow.
in uni. Vandegrift looked good in
He
uni.
did look good in the uniform.
Ooh, Massaqua's a good one.
Muhammad Massaquoi was a good one. Todd Gurley's
Uno.
a good one. I think that was also just because it was Todd Gurley. No Sean Marino had some nice drip too back in the day.
Yeah.
Late
Yeah.
2000s drip.
He made
Noshawn had that
24
shit
look
on.
good.
Ain't no doubt. I'm trying to think.
Tate Ratledge is another good answer.
Tate Ratledge got good offensive line drip.
It's about as good as you.
No. Offensive line drip king of the era, Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones. Bro, he would rock jersey up over the back plate as an offensive tackle.
Hell yeah.
That's swag. You can't top that
No, you
as an
can't.
offensive lineman, especially if you can pull it. Like most kids are just doing it because they think it's cool. But if you can actually pull it off, you're a guy.
Yeah, if you're not a guy, like, you look like Sauce Boss.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but
You don't remember Sauce Boss?
I'm vehemently agreeing with you on this one. I'm just being a good teammate.
You've definitely seen a picture of Sauce Boss.
Definitely haven't. Let's spin one more time
Definitely
before we go back
have.
to the table. We got official visit intel, by the way, coming up here in just a second. Oh, a little would you rather? Come on with it. What would I rather?
Would you rather be guaranteed to have the #1 recruiting class over the next 3 years, or be guaranteed to, at the very least, reach the college football playoff for the next 3 years?
All right, so I'm going to do this ain't even a Georgia fan talking. This is college football aficionado Brooks Austin talking. If the University of Georgia has the #1 recruiting class for the next 3 years, then that means we have brought back some type of sanity to player acquisition.
Is there a ceiling for these classes? Like, is there a limit to like however many 5 stars I could sign?
Yeah, are they 1 and there's a distance between them and 2, or is it like 1 and 2 neck and neck?
Or it's like I pick my 24 best players.
It's what you typically see in a recruiting class, where it's
Neck and neck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every now and again, they'll be like, "Oh my God, this is one of the best classes ever," but the majority of the time,
I mean, yeah, give me the highest ranked recruiting classes.
I would too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're
It almost like at Georgia too. It almost ensures success.
yeah, like if you should make the college football playoff 3 years in a row if you have the #1 recruiting class. Making the college football playoff nowadays does not mean you're getting to the national championship. So having that number one recruiting class, in my opinion, would be good insurance for it.
I also think Georgia's kind of just like a shoe-in for college football playoff.
They are one of these teams that 12 definitely made it a safety net for them.
Yeah.
Now, we said that in Alabama missed it the first year.
If they go 5 plus 11, you just go ahead and put Georgia in.
Yeah, Georgia's never
every
missing
year.
that shit.
As long as Kirby Smart's here.
Georgia might have – no, that wouldn't have made it in 2016, but that was me. Nah, 7-5 regular season. Nah.
Let's not get too carried away with our SEC bias, Kirby, okay?
Oh, my bad, Jay. Well, but no, I do think that I would take the number one recruiting class over any of them.
Speaking of recruiting, should we review this official visit weekend?
Huge opening weekend.
Yeah, 18 OVs on campus.
Oh, I have to tell y'all a story about this.
Please do.
Off air.
What?
Off air.
That was lame.
Off. I'm sorry.
You just stopped show to tell us you got to tell us about something.
It just popped.
Off air?
You do this all the time. What are you talking
But
about?
mine are cool.
You read a text.
He makes people pay to hear his stories later.
You
Yeah.
read a text and audibly
I
go.
have to pay you to hear them.
You read a text and audibly go, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "What?" And you go,
That's the biggest news I've read in the last 6 months.
That's a
tell you, though.
That's a bombshell. Tell you after the show. So I'll tell you after the show. It's funny.
That's an absolute nuke on my phone. I'll tell you in 25 minutes.
Yeah. When we go off air.
Most likely to have forgotten, and y'all have to remind me every single time. Hey, what were you going to say? And then I sit there and
What
go,
are you talking about?
What was I going to say?
You know, the news you said was the biggest thing ever. You forgot that.
Yeah. But anyways, the recruiting weekend. Big
Official
weekend.
visits.
Yeah, massive weekend. Obviously, Carter Lucky committed this week. He was on his official visit this weekend. That was kind of a foregone conclusion, it felt like, from a recruiting standpoint. Everybody knew Carter Lucky was going to be in that Georgia class. In fact, I think Florida State fans, for some reason, thought they had a chance based off my Twitter timeline. Sir, y'all just tripping. That just was never going to happen. That kid was going nowhere other than the University of Georgia. So, again, with the University of Georgia thing. So there's that. But let's talk about the guys who were on campus. Chris Booker, we talked about him already ad nauseum on this network today. The Alabama commit out of Hapeville Charter. I was told going into his visit, guys, that they were going to really, really push here. They were going to try to get this one to flip to Georgia. I just don't know. They're playing such catch up on a program that placed priority on Chris. Chris got an offer from Alabama, went out there to camp. They realized just who he was, and I think everyone else has realized very quickly going to see him this spring who he is and what he is. They recognized it way earlier than everybody else, and I think Georgia's playing real catch up here. And I'm going to have to circle back just to see how much they actually impressed upon him this week. I'll ask him, and then I'll obviously ask folks up there at Georgia. Moving on to Dandridge, the wide receiver out of Cambridge High School. Love this kid a lot. I think Georgia has kind of solidified themselves as the one here. When I talked to his coach at Cambridge High School on my recruiting tour, that was 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Not even that, 2 weeks ago. The fear there was actually like Clemson. And if we can get out of the OV with Clemson without him committing there, they think it's going to end up being Georgia. Clemson got cut from the OVs.
Yep. Got cut from the list. He announced it on 28th.
I think at this point, off everything I've heard, and they're not even in the mix at this point, but this is the dream school. LSU, if LSU gets in the mix here, throw up red caution or yellow caution tape, you might have a fight. But I think other than that, it's Georgia. What are you smiling about?
I'm just reading comments.
You just smiling a smile, huh, buddy?
People are being mean to me because I'm not telling the story. But
Oh, well, yeah, screw you, buddy.
yeah, they'll be all right.
Big T's, Kirby's.
I don't like that
I
one.
don't either.
No.
It felt forced. Yeah, so I think Georgia's heavily in the front here. I think the only way LSU would get involved is if Miami does indeed flip Tristan Keys, which, could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Very well could happen. So that could cause some rippling effect, but I think you're in a good position there. I don't know this to be fact. They have not told me this, but history and logic tell me this. Kamari Brooks is not only a priority in this class, he's a necessity. Like, he's a must-have, considering what the room looks like now, what the board in 2027 looks like, and what the rest of the board in 26 looks like. Like, there isn't – I know the kid from GAC is on their board. I forget his name right away. Andre Quinn. I know he's on their board at Edge, but, it's Kamari Brooks, and then it's everybody else. And when a defensive prospect feels like that in state for Georgia, they just don't miss. Like, I know Alabama's in the mix here. I know Texas is flirting around with this one, which causes, moments of concern. But this is a kid from North Oconee that Georgia feels like they have to have. I feel like he's going to end up in the class. Do you guys feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, typically now, not as much usually because of the NIL era, but when Georgia places emphasis on guys like this, where it's we really, really want to have this guy, we will expend the resources necessary, they typically land them. And I know the attitude around the Georgia football program is we don't ever overpay for players, or we're not going to do the NIL game with you because we have what we have and we believe in that. But I feel like Georgia should be confident in this.
I think so too. Now, the one I don't necessarily feel confident on, even though I think they earned the right to be at the table this weekend, is Cedarian Morgan. Now, I think they're selling this kid. He could be Colby Young. But what are you selling? Are you selling the promise of Colby Young right now? Because that's the first thing. When I say, hey, what was the Cedarian Morgan visit like? It's like, hey, you ought to see this kid in the uniform. He looks like Colby Young.
I would want to sell it more on we haven't had anyone like you.
Yeah, I would do that.
Like Colby Young is
selling like 400 yards in promise.
I mean, yeah, Colby Young had a lot of promise coming into 2024.
Still does.
We obviously know how that, or 2024, and we know how that season ended. But I mean, there's not really a big-bodied X that you can point to in the last 5 or 6 years for Georgia and say like, yeah, this is what we believe you are for us. You could do that for George Pickens, but he wasn't necessarily the big-body X guy. He was just the highly talented ball skills guy. So I don't know. But then again, like,
at least I shouldn't say we. I hate speaking for you guys, but we watched the tape together. I have reservations about the player.
Well, I mean,
like,
I
think
think
he's going to be really good.
I think
I have reservations about just how good he's going to be.
I have reservations about the 5-star status.
Yes.
I think that I don't have reservations.
If he were ranked 111, I wouldn't be talking.
Oh, it's a great pick.
It's a great pick.
It's a great pickup. So I think if you just chalk it up as that of if you land Cedarian Morgan, you just got a really good football player, then it's great. But what you can't do is we just got a 5-star football player. He's ranked 25th in the country. This guy's going to be the next best wide receiver in the country.
And
that's where I'd push back.
What I would push back on if they chose to do this, he is a 5-star. Whether or not I think he is or what, it doesn't matter. He is a 5-star. Okay, his agency, his representation probably thinks he's a 5-star, approaching the recruitment as a 5-star. He's an Alabama football player that has Alabama and Auburn in the mix. So what I would not be doing if I were Georgia is getting into some type of overpay situation for this football player.
Sure.
I would have overpaid for Mark Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
You would have overpaid for Mark Bowman. They should have overpaid for Mark Bowman, not to $8 million, but to whatever an extent an overpay feels like for Georgia. I wouldn't be doing it for this one. That's me. I don't know how they feel. I do, actually. They think he's going to be great.
Yeah.
They have no concerns about this football player.
And again, this is part of the unfortunate not disservice, but disadvantage that we're at in our field because we don't have camps, we don't have all these other things to see this kid one-on-one. The tape obviously screams that there might be some limitations and there might be some areas that coaches are hiding them, but it could also very easily be that, hey, this is what the kid's really, really good at. Let's just play the hits in the way to winning games for us.
Can these kids or their agents pay for stars in their rankings? Did you just ask if player position or player rankings can be manipulated? Yes.
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 Yes, they can.
But most of the time it does not come from players trying to get it out of the ranking services. Normally the ranking services are saying, hey, if you do an interview with me, we might bump your ranking up.
Well, it's also the fact that a lot of these ranking services are staffed by like 5 to 10 people.
Yeah.
And you have to cover thousands and thousands of kids. So then when you have a university that's literal job hinders on finding the best players possible, and there's 40 staff members, you get an offer of that, the recruiting sites are going to then follow.
Do colleges even pay attention to that? I feel like it's all a fan service. Certain colleges do, certain colleges do not. The quickest way I've been told to get laughed at out of a recruiting meeting with Kirby Smart in attendance is to mention a ranking. So-and-so is ranked such and such. Ha, ha, ha. Get the fuck out of my building. That's how it happens at Georgia. However, I have been to – obviously I spent the spring with a bunch of different college football programs. I've been in those rankings – or those recruiting meetings, I should say, and some schools do have services rankings put next to them. I think it's more of a gauge of what the interest is from other schools. If you're a 4-star, that basically means you have committable offers at the mid-level, like SEC programs and mid-level Big Ten programs. If you get committable offers from Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State, you become a 5-star. That's kind of normally how that works. They're offer tracking like you're talking about.
Yeah.
The systems are just the player intake is just way too large for 3 people at 24/7 to accurately do the rankings.
Yeah.
Outside of the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
You should nail the top 100. You should have formulated opinions on that. I don't expect you to have an actual ranking, a real opinion on the 1,400th best player in the country. But at Georgia, you better have an opinion on that kid.
Mm-hmm. It's your job. It's how you win national championships.
It's how you win in the margins. You're right. So, yeah, that was the Sedarian Morgan intel. Buddy, they had a good weekend, but it's Auburn and it's Alabama. Like, I feel the same way about Shadarius Tootle. Like, I know that was last weekend, and I know he left Georgia, and a bunch of people did their sliding scale majiggy thing, and they predicted him to Georgia and to flip from Auburn. Like, that's how they feel. I feel like, buddy, it's an Auburn commit that lives in the state of Alabama. They are desperately in need of linebackers. Good luck. That's how I look at that, no matter how well they did on the visit. Justice Fitzpatrick, Minka's brother, it's a very quiet, professional recruitment. I don't think you're going to see Justice Fitzpatrick doing interviews after his visit. That's an NFL family. I think Georgia feels really, really good about where they're at. I know he is the priority at corner right now, it feels like, for them in the 2026 class. So we'll see how that wraps up. Xavier Crowell was on campus this weekend as well. Sounds like they did a great job there. I think they're pushing harder there now because of what feels like a distancing between the Savion Hyder recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're in it on the Savion Hyder thing. I think they're standing on the outside looking in. I think right now, if me mentally, I'm marking Jay Lamar as a Georgia commit mentally. It's not official. I have no reason to believe that other than that's a Colquitt County kid whose brother was recruited and signed by Josh Crawford. So I just think you're in there, like you're going to be there.
What do you think about the running back class this year? Is it
I would have a whole hell of a lot better answer for you if I had junior tape on Savion Hyder.
Mm-hmm.
But I got tape on Derek Cooper, and that sumbitch is freaky. Derek Cooper, to me, is the best back in the class. However, tough shit, that kid's going to Miami. You can't tell me no different.
Yeah.
That kid is going to Miami. I don't want to hear anybody tell me anything different. That's the way I feel about Derek Cooper. So, but that's my take on the running back class. I mean, Xavier Crowell is a reclass into that class, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So that tells you what his representation thought of this class.
Mm-hmm.
You get in, you might be Q or RB3.
Yeah.
As a year early.
It just seems like there's so much around the 2020s.
Amari Latimer's really, really good, but I don't think, we're talking about Georgia. Georgia doesn't, I don't think they like Amari Latimer. But Texas and Tennessee do.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Which happens, ironically, every year in this state. Georgia will kind of distance themselves from a kid where their direct competitors go in and, prioritize them. It's just, it's weird. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So. That, to tell you right there, that's a firm confirmation. They don't give a shit about rankings. They don't care.
They don't.
You know?
Not at all. And yet they always seem to somehow get in the top 5 recruiting class.
Well, yeah, that confirms our theory of the ranking services are in response to the coaches' staffs, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Georgia signed this kid. Maybe he should be highly rated.
He's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's pay more attention to what his film is.
Any news of Seven Cloud? Guys, I think they feel fine about Seven Cloud. I think I could relay this information. I put it on Patreon 2 weeks ago when he signed with Drew Rosenhaus.
Mm-hmm.
I know Drew Rosenhaus just kind of escorted Jackson Cantwell down to Miami, and that causes concern for Georgia fans. But here's the reality. From everything I've been told from Georgia people, they don't mind dealing with Drew. Okay, Drew is a professional. Drew does not lie. Drew does not bullshit. Drew does not play games, is what I was told. And there is a tremendous amount of appreciation for that up there at the University of Georgia. So it wasn't a cause for concern for them. I think it's just proper representation for a JUCO football player, which is needed.
Yeah, and I understand why there were some fears among the Georgia fan base simply because the agent.
Fresh.
Well, not only did he kind of escort him to Miami, he had Miami ties, and by the way, the paycheck was super fat. So it all makes sense, but like I said, it's not anything I don't think that Georgia needs to worry about.
Mm-mm.
Georgia got some more recruiting news today, actually. The wide receiver?
Oh, yeah, the 2027.
Gavin, we pulled his
Just
film
now.
up if you want to watch
Yeah,
it.
let's take a look at it. I'm down. That's Matter Day tape, huh? So
Yeah.
this ought to be him against some dudes.
Now, none of us have seen this, right?
No, this has got to be him right here, though. I would assume.
He's a shorter guy, yeah.
Oh, he's the dude in the front?
He's 5'10".
Oh, okay. So that's Chris Henry Jr. in front of him. Oh, this is a burner.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Ran had a personal best, I want to say 10.68 or 10.58 in the 100.
Okay. So this guy's got some juice. And this is sophomore tape?
Yes.
Yes, because he's class of 27.
That's against St. John Bosco.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go football. Little jet motion to him. We're going to run the wheel. Good catch at the pylon. Good hands.
He's good at tracking. Definitely
yeah,
has a lot of.
he runs really, really well. He catches really well. He's a little undersized, but
Yeah, he's 5'10", 170 right now. But I mean,
Yeah.
he's also 15 years old.
yeah.
I want to see some twitch to this kid, though.
I want to see him go attack a football too. But we haven't had the opportunity to do so just yet. I see a smooth 10-6. I don't see a twitchy 10-6, just like what you're saying right there, Curva.
Mhm.
At least I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's some off the line. There it was.
I want to see him just, like, take some ankles.
That's not Nate, is it? That's the other running back?
I believe so.
Boy, thick. Oh, we body caught that.
Ah.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
For me, if we were watching a 5-star right now, it'd be too early for me to get too excited.
Yeah, no, this is a 3-star.
Yeah, but either way, is what I'm saying. It's like it's way too early in the cycle for me to get super excited.
No, yeah,
about
for sure. And I mean, you talked about it earlier of the supposed curse of the first player to sign your class.
That's a good correction. I want to see a tough physical grab. That's what I want to see. I know we can route. I know we can run to open grass. I know we can do shit after the catch. I want to see you body somebody, catch it off of you. Also would like to see us do something after that. That's okay.
I didn't even see him on that play.
Screen.
Here we go.
We're cribbing this, right?
I mean, they had good angles on
Oh,
him.
they're good angles, and again, it's big time high school football. Because we're not watching single A Georgia football right here. These are dudes. Like this is St. Francis right here, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so our man Edmonds, the safety.
Jordan Edmonds.
Yeah, no, not Jordan Edmonds. I'm thinking of the kid that's committing June 5th
I'm blanking on the
from
name,
St.
too.
Francis, the number 1 safety in America. We just watched him the other day. We just talked about him the other day. Come on, chat. Help me out here. Oh, man. Son of a-
Jared Edwards, or how do you pronounce that?
Edwards, Jariah.
Jariah.
Jariah Edwards. Jireh. Jariah Edwards.
All right, so off of what you've seen so far, what's your player comp for him?
Oh, my God. Dominic Lovett, maybe? But it's just like faster. But he's Dom's size. You know what I mean? Like that's a slot receiver all day, with good yards after the catch ability, with concerns about general overall size. So, but I mean, we have history of 5'10", 170-pound wide receivers doing good shit.
And it seems like since the Todd Monken years, you just kind of go, oh, you're a burner, we'll take you and see where it goes.
Yeah, but just like no matter how good that tape is, no matter where he commits, that kid's ceiling in the ranking service is 250.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised Vance Spafford's ranked as high as he is. You know, it's a very similar profile. West Coast kid, 5'10", 170 pounds, sub 4.4, sub 10.7 in the 100.
Mm-hmm.
Same exact eval. So we'll see if it sticks, though. That's the important thing there.
Some summer clips.
Yeah,
Or
I saw some. Before we get to that, I got more intel on summer camps. So not only were there 18 official visitors this weekend, not only did Kirby Smart go watch 3 or 4 innings of a Georgia baseball loss, but there also were 150 kids on campus Sunday afternoon and 150 more kids on campus today for their summer camp circuits beginning in Athens. And the biggest name, and I'm surprised every year when they get dudes like this to camp for them, but I think it just ultimately speaks a lot about the individuals themselves, but also the nature of Georgia. David Jacobs Jr., the 5-star edge rusher out of Blessed Trinity, was on campus yesterday. And Kirby, scouts were raving not just about the football player. He's 6'5", he's 240 pounds. They think he's going to be a first-round draft pick wherever he goes to college, but they were raving about his work ethic, that just the way he attacked that practice, or that workout rather, for a guy who, like I said, didn't need to. Like, that guy had no need to go out there and practice for Georgia. He's a take for them. He's a priority for them no matter what. But just kind of stamped where he sits in that room for them in 2027. He's a great football player, and by all accounts, sounds like a great young man.
Yeah, I mean,
with an NFL pedigree.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you want to buy into now is just, again, there's so much, I feel like, fatigue from college football programs from getting burned from these recruits and players where it's, all right, are you doing this for money? Now, obviously, there's some monetary compensation for all of them. Are you doing this for money? Is that where your heart's at? It seems like he's definitely – and I've got family that goes to BT, and it definitely sounds like he's one of these kids that genuinely just loves playing football. So it's exciting to hear about.
I mean, the tape says that too. He plays with his hair on fire. Big effort guy on the tape. So I'm as interested to see what happens in that 27 class for them. Obviously, I think right now if they had to pick – like rank your top 2 edge rushers, it would be David Jacobs Jr. and it would be LaDainian Guyton. And I don't think there's any world in today's day and age of college football where you can ideally sign them both.
Yeah.
So I do think maybe there's a world where they pull off a 2023 signing class where Damon Wilson and Sam Mpemba end up in the class. Those were the 2 highest rated edge rushers in that class. Now, ironically, both of them are finishing their careers elsewhere.
Yeah.
But the idea that Georgia landed both of those guys in 2023 was astronomical. It made no sense. This would be the same exact thing. I think it would make no sense to me if they were able to do it. You would just have to tip your cap to Georgia and Uzo if they were able to pull it off.
Do you have an inkling as to who they might go if they can only choose one?
It's too early if they were to have to choose. Now, rephrase that question and ask me.
Who would you choose if you're Kirby Smart?
David Jacobs is 2 inches taller. And I think right now on tape he plays harder. So just give me that. If the prices were equal, I'm taking the gamble that seems to be a more likely hit.
Okay.
That being said, there are very few athletes I've ever seen move and have the power that LaDainian Guyton has.
So is it safe to say these are both 2 future NFL players?
They're both first-round draft picks. There is no wrong choice if you choose. So I think you just remember how they approached they chose incorrectly, but do you guys remember how they approached the Caleb Williams, Brock Vandagriff recruitments?
I remember Brock Vandagriff more than Caleb Williams.
So what happened was about February of that recruitment class, they called them both and said, whichever, we got to get things going. Whichever one of you want to be a Georgia Bulldog, we'll take you tomorrow, and then we'll stop recruiting the other one. And the response from Vandagriff was, I'll see you in a month. The answer from Caleb was, I'm waiting until July to commit. And Georgia was like, okay, well, we're out on Williams. We'll take Vandagriff. Now, I don't know if they would have ended up winning in the Caleb Williams recruitment anyways.
Yeah.
But it was more of, we'll take the first one that wants to come here. I think you approach the same thing this way with these 2 guys. If you know you physically cannot afford them both, financially you're not going to be able to afford them both, whichever one wants to be in here first, get them, solidify it, be done with it, move on.
So that goes to say basically like they are on the same level as far as recruits go, as far as prospects go.
I think so.
There's not one where it's like, we'd really like this guy, but we'll take this guy as well.
If you gun to the head, everybody in the building, I bet you 50-50. Right down the middle.
Makes sense.
You know? So there's that. But yeah, that dude camping to me is the craziest thing.
Here's an interesting
Just didn't need to.
Here's an interesting question that I have that might shed some light on recruiting. Obviously, you have to do work towards your 2027 class, even while the 2026 class is still in progress. You went on a bunch of tours this year and visited with these coaches. Is it set up as we have a 2027 crew that's working on the next class and everyone's 2026, or is it you're just kind of spreading time equally between the 2?
Yeah, I think you're doing the latter there. You're spreading time. I don't think you separate the work. You know what I mean? You're not putting one staff on one class and one staff on the other. Now, what I have heard and what I have seen on these trips that I've taken is that some schools that I go to have like, and I think I told you this, one of the schools that I went to had a director of player personnel for offense and a director of player personnel for defense. And they'd split the recruiting responsibilities up by offense and defense. I don't believe that's the case at Georgia, though. I've even, like, for example, back in the day, Dale McGee used to recruit every Metro Atlanta kid, right? Like, I guarantee you James Coley is involved in recruiting every South Florida kid. He probably has something to do with it.
Yeah.
So there's certain areas and pockets of the country that they send certain coaches to. I don't even know what your original question was.
Just basically, like, what's the allocation between working on the 2026 class and the 2027 class?
Right now, they are finishing up deciding who they're going to take and who they can afford in 26 while setting what the board might look like in 27.
Okay.
Whereas certain schools, like Tennessee, for example, Tennessee's probably already making moves on 27. They're probably already trying to solidify certain players.
They'll have their QB committed in a month.
Well, they just offered a new one recently, so I think they're playing from behind for their normal calendar. So, interesting. Spin the wheel?
Spin the wheel.
Oh,
I was about to ask you.
oh, buddy, you ain't got to ask. You ain't got to ask if I want to spin said wheel. I'm going to spin said wheel. Spin that sucker. Wha-bang. Oh, boo. Here we go. Crazy but true. What's crazy but indeed true?
Crazy but true. Since the 2021 season, Georgia has played in 5 college football playoff games. In those 5 games, the Dogs have only given up 2 rushing touchdowns, with neither touchdown being longer than 3 yards.
Man, that's crazy.
So you got to earn it on the ground,
But
or you
it's
did.
true.
It's true.
One more time.
Since the 2021 season, Georgia has played in 5 college football playoff games. In those 5 games, the Dogs have only given up 2 rushing touchdowns, with neither touchdown being longer than 3 yards.
Wow. That's crazy.
But true.
But true.
The illusion of choice, the 50-50 shot here of trivia or...
Trivia. What do we got, Curb, for UGA trivia today?
Let's name that Bulldog.
Oh, name that Bulldog.
This is to become just an annual or weekly game of Can I Stump Jay Will? All right. Brooks, I would be shocked if you even know who this player is.
Big hater.
All right. He's a 3-star prospect from the state of Georgia. He played during the Mark Richt era. He did not finish his career with Georgia.
Oh, Mark Richt didn't finish his career with Georgia. Okay.
Yeah,
So this is a pre-transfer portal transfer?
Indeed.
Okay.
He had a career-high 129 rushing yards against Tennessee in 2013.
Brendan Douglas?
You're on the right trail, but it's not exactly Brendan Douglas.
2013.
Oh, that's inside out. That's a good cut.
2013
I can
was
picture this player.
2013 was the overtime game where Pig Howard threw the ball through the back of the end zone and you win on a field goal.
Oh, my gosh.
Chris Durham.
What was his name?
Chris Durham's too early. You want the final hint, Jay Will?
No, hold on. Let me keep thinking because I can picture this player. JJ Green.
Damn it. Yes, it's J.J. Green.
I knew I'd eventually get there.
JJ Green.
JJ Green was the number 2 option to Brendan Douglas. When those two were the main backs, he ultimately ended up transferring to Georgia Tech.
There was a short period of time where J.J. Green and Brendan Douglas were your feature backs because everyone on that roster got hurt. Todd Gurley had an ankle sprain in the LSU game. Keith Marshall tore his knee. And
Dog in D.C. was on the same wavelength as me. I immediately thought of Trigger Trey when you said transfer. Mark Richt
I would
era.
never speak his name ever. God, dude.
Oh, boy. Trey Matthews was from Noonan High School. I don't mean to blow Trey Matthews' spot up, but he about 20 miles from where I grew up. The whole area knew my man was on that sissy sauce snap. He was on that heavy stuff, dog. He was on that good shit.
Was he?
Oh, yeah, big time. Now, again, allegations, most likely false allegations. Also, one of the greatest highlights you'll ever see. That highlight tape of Trey Matthews at Noonan High School is insane. There's several dead bodies on that tape.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he was on the –
it was very promising.
I think he was on the stuff. Now, maybe he was just one of them ones. Maybe he was just gifted. But I'm talking like known in the gym circles, Buddy at 17 was racking 225 for like 28 reps in the local gym.
That's it?
Yeah, okay, big dog.
Oh, yeah, I did
big
20.
dog. What's your PR on the 225 bench press test?
I don't even remember.
29.
Have you ever tapped 225 once?
No, I got close to my senior year of high school. I was not a great bench press guy.
I was. Super barrel-chested, short arms. I was a cheater.
That's what helps.
Yeah, I was.
man.
I was the
dumb.
complete opposite of that.
Yeah. I'll know. I used to do when I actually went to the gym. I stopped bench pressing about 5 years ago because my shoulders absolutely fried.
Yeah.
But occasionally I would do the old 225 test. Do I still got it? Where you see 225 on the rack and you just lay down, tap it once, and then be like, I'm good for the day.
That only makes me think of that guy that goes in the gym once a month.
Yeah.
Every month to make sure he can bench
Bro,
press 225, then he walks out.
I'm afraid to die, but we got it over there. We can try one day.
No.
I think I can still touch it.
I mean, yeah, you probably could. Just got to warm up and everything, but
Warm up.
don't be too tough for a warm up, bro.
I mean, sometimes a little too tough for a warm up. Do we
probably-
have anything else on this local hour notes?
I don't
feel like
believe
we
so.
did. I feel like I missed something. We didn't talk about Kirk Herbstreit bitching about college football, did we?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yep, we hit on that one.
We talked about all the recruiting notes, summer camps. Oh, we didn't talk about summer camps.
Oh,
What
yeah.
they revealed. Here's what summer camps
That's what it
revealed to
was.
me. I was watching a video on the Twitter timelines of a European recruit. Shout out PPL Recruits. Tweeted out a video of them doing one-on-ones at the summer camps. And I hear this very demonstrative voice coaching really, really hard. And I noticed that it is not Stacy Searles. And I noticed that it's not Warren Erickson. And it is obviously my man from the Jags that they just hired. And I got to thinking immediately, here's how this is working. Warren Erickson's being fake quarterback guy, standing there in the pocket while they're doing one-on-ones. The GA is not GA, but the offensive line assistant is coaching his ass off, right, in the drill. Meanwhile, Stacy Searles, not pictured, guess what he was probably doing? Over there recruiting. He's probably giving face with mom and dad and the actual recruit that they need to get, while the coaches are over there coaching and evaluating. He's doing the important shit. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're doing this at linebacker. They're doing this at tight end, positions that they're way too deep already. And it's not just applying on the summer camp circuit. This is exactly how they're practicing. And I told you about this when they hired these guys, right? Why are they hiring an outside linebackers or inside linebackers coach? It's not because Schumann's leaving, right? That's not the reason. Why are they hiring a tight ends coach that's been coaching in the league for 25 years? It's not because Todd Hartley's leaving. Why are they hiring an offensive line coach that was just making $400,000 at Jacksonville to work off the field at Georgia? Well, it's not because Stacy Searles is leaving. It's because they're way too deep at those positions for one coach. So they bring in another professional coach and they let that guy coach the backups, or they let that guy run the camps. It's brilliant. It's a first world issue, or not issue. It's an only allowed to happen at programs that have the budget that Georgia does, but it is playing chess. Mm-hmm. It's exactly what it is. And just like the chat saying right there in the chat, because you can. That's why Georgia's doing it, because they can.
Why not? If you can do it, do it. I mean, we've seen numerous teams expend every single thing to get an ounce of an advantage against a team. So, I mean, when you can do that on a recruiting trail and you can expend and send out multiple coaches in these camps, absolutely go ahead and do it. Makes perfect sense. What are you looking at?
What are you admiring?
I'm going to see if I can do it tonight. Well, I got some spotters. We're going to throw it up on that rack over there and just tap it just once.
No warm-up?
No warm-up. And a shaky bench. That's a $25 bench off Amazon I bought during COVID that kind of moves back and forth. Not very a stable platform over there. But, yeah, we're gonna do it. I think I still got it.
I have faith in you.
I'm sure you can, yeah.
You think?
225?
Just like one cold rep.
I don't think you should.
Why?
You talk about your shoulder issues. That's what causes shit like that.
We'll let y'all know.
You might want to listen to Mr. Chicken and Rice.
Oh yeah, you're right. He's the little fundamental. You know, who is it? Tim Duncan, the big fundamental.
Oh,
the little fundamental over
Yeah.
there.
I'm definitely not Tim Duncan size.
No,
Not at all.
all right. I'm good. I'm going to go see if I can do this still. I'm going to rack it up right now. Appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on your way out. I love you.
We got
Bye.
4 minutes. You want to just turn the cameras on and do it?
I don't want that kind of pressure.
All right.
And we got mess with the rack.
That's fine.
Fuck it. You want to?
It's up to you.
All right, let's do it.
It's your show, man.
Y'all ad lib.
All right.
This is going to end poorly. I got a feeling.
Shall we start playing the Rocky music?
Nah, dude. I'm not worried about that.
Are we
This is
considering Brooks the underdog
This is
here?
also actually going
Or
to
is
be
the weight
Definitely
the underdog?
an underdog. I haven't hit 225 in
Okay.
like 4 years.
This is also going to be the audience's first look at the back wall of the studio.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got some cool stuff back there.
We're unlocking
We.
new territory.
Oh, sorry.
talking about?
Brooks has some cool stuff back there. He can buy stuff for the back wall, but we get a black curtain.
Oh, hey. Got a
damn,
black
J-Lo.
curtain because that 135 felt a little heavy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
J-Lo, do you need to go over and spot him while I run cameras here?
No, you can go over there.
Well, I'm going to be cameras.
My heart's racing just a tad bit. I'm not gonna.
All right, well, then warm up with the 135. Also, that bar is way too low.
Well, it's gonna be. I want it low because I kind of want to feel it off the rack. To be honest with you, kind of give it like a half rep. You know? Oh, we got a crooked.
You put the right side up too.
He's turned into a
He's
whole
so
ordeal
lucky
right
I'm
now.
being nice to not show the camera right now.
I got no chance, by the way.
You can do it, dude.
They're asking how much did you bench in your playing days?
PR 430. I hit 225 for 28 reps my senior year.
Holy shit, yeah. I never got close to that.
Oh, this is gonna end bad.
Why are you doing
Why am I doing this? Because chat talked me into it.
I'm telling you right now, I do not condone this.
I'm way too
We
far
need
down
a
the road at this
warning.
point.
Do not try it.
Do not try this at home. If you're gonna
By the way, I also think this is going to set us up for a terrible crotch
Guys,
shot.
we're not going to let him do this out of spotter, all right? We're just letting him set it up.
With the way y'all got this camera shot, it's going to be right on my nads.
Nah,
right here
dude, don't
on this
worry.
bench.
Don't worry. I've
You
got
going to
it.
take care
Dude,
of me?
that's a good shot, honestly.
Dude, I got you, bro.
All right.
You didn't even want to rep 135 a little bit
Nah,
for
dude,
the
I said cold rep. I
Even
said
just
cold
the
rep.
bar,
Oh,
just the
Jesus
bar a couple
Christ.
times.
Nah, we're going to cold rep it.
All right.
All right.
Guess I'll go spotting now.
Oh, this is going to be bad. I'm just, if I have I reserve the opportunity to lift this off the rack and completely bail on this plane. All right, here we go. Oh no, she's made, dude.
Ooh, you got another one in you.
Oh, we had another one. We're not trying to find out if we will, though. I still got it. Into the show, baby. Oh, that was smooth.
See, no warm-up, Kirby.
No warm up. All right.
Whew. That's one of the best things that
was
we've
cake.
ever done.
That was cake.
Now you have to do that at the end of every episode.
Kid Brooks still
Holler at
bitch.
me in 5 years. All right. We'll see y'all later.
Now
I'm gonna
Kirby
catch my
do it.
breath.
I'm not
my
doing
fat
that shit
ass.
without a warm up.